I'm almost here. I'll be here soon. Hello, I'm here. What are we doing? What we're doing? What we're doing? What we're doing today? I don't know. Oh, we're reading Armageddon. We're going to read Armageddon. Crusade book. The Crusade book. Hello, IRS or Dinosaur Soldier. How you doing? How you doing? How's everyone else doing? Amazingly. Yeah, the stream's a bit weird because I thought I clicked the go live button, but then I was like, this looks weird. And then I'm like, I'm not live! Oh no! So I was a bit late going into the starting soon screen. I'm pouring some cola. Soon you'll be a cup cat. Never! Never! Don't you want to become rich in sprinkles? I got like something stuck between my teeth. Don't you want to be rich in the sprinkles? You need to get sprinkle rich. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle rich. Yeah, you know. But what are we doing today? We're reading the Armageddon Lore book. Yesterday I didn't stream. This is an army. It's one of those things where you just notice something stuck between your teeth. And now it's really annoying you. No, it gives a reason to do heresy. Being rich in sprinkles gives you a reason to do heresy. Why? That doesn't make sense. Everyone gets to be rich in Cuptopia if you don't turn me into a cat. Oh, that's tasty. Nice cola. Nice cola. Also, let me get my I forgot to get the book out. Here it is. Here's the book. We've almost finished it. We just got to figure out. Oh no, I need to blow my nose because of hay fever. I'm sorry. I'll be here in a moment. Hi, I'm back. Hi. I'm still kind of new to Warhammer. Hello, Emperor Poe. But we wanted to. No, don't turn me into a cat. No, turn me into a cat. It's fine. I used to be rich, but when the Great Reset happened, when the first cupcake heresy, no. You've been doing lots of heresies before the Great Resets. Where do I start? Where do you start with Warhammer for Wikipedia pages? Actually, 11th edition is a great time to start. You've got the new core rulebook and stuff. Actually, the core rulebook doesn't give you much lore anymore. If you get the new Armageddon set, it's got the Imperator book. That should be good for lore. I don't know. I've not seen it myself. I won't be able to see it for like another week yet. But yeah, with any luck. Otherwise, Kyphus Kane, people say it's a very good book to start with. You've got the Dark Imperium books. You got the new Season of Fire book. Pretty much any of the Warhammer. If you're already liking Warhammer, any of the story novel books are fine. Otherwise, the core rule books. Well, not the core rule books anymore because they don't have lore in them. Oh, the new Combat Patrol book that's coming out should be good. It's like meant to be like people starting the hobby. Currently still painting my Knight of Abhorrence Primaris Librarian in Phobos armor. Oh, that's cool. You start by not doing 40k, doing Horus Heresy. No! The community page is also full of, you know, lore tidbits and stuff like that. I mean, just like going on for wiki pages, going on to like your guide to Warhammer YouTube videos are very good. Oh, if you go onto the community page and just look up getting started. If we go to the hand cam, and I click this button. Pre-order now. There we go. Yeah, but for Combat Patrol Companion, I believe should be good. Yeah, because it introduces you to the factions and stuff like that. It's a very simple guide and introduction. You're better to get it cheaper outside the Warhammer website. Core rules. It's literally just for rules, I believe. They don't do lore anymore in them. Terrain area sets, that's not going to helpful. Mad Dog Got skins are pretty fun, but the Horus Heresy is the best. Just Marines and more Marines, but smaller. No. Horus Heresy isn't the best because you got no Xenos there. But yeah, if you go to Warhammer Community site and just click Getting Started. Oop, that's one too many T's. But where do we go? Oh no, it's not getting started. Well, what's the what is the thing? Okay, let me type like Black Templars. This was starting a Black Templars army. Everything you need to know. Oh, here we go. Is it for everything you need to know? You need to know. Here we go. Everything you need to know. Yeah, getting into 40k, like you want to know about Grey Knights. Click here and it just tells you about the Grey Knights long before the Imperium. It just gives you a very quick thing, some cool art, just quick lore. And it teaches you about them. And also about how like to start the army. But then it's like Dark Eldar, Black Templars, Grey Knights, starting a League of Photon Army, Space Wolves, Thousand Suns, Astra Militarum, World Eaters, Death Guard, Emperor's Children, Eldari, Lieutenant Titus, Blood Angels, Imperial Agents. So yeah, it gives you good knowledge of everything. Dating back to 2023, but then it goes even further. What is Warhammer 40k? More pricing updates. So, yeah, I swear there's also something here as well. What is it? Like on one of these things. New to Warhammer. Here we go. Click here. Here we go. If you go onto the main website, there's just a click new to Warhammer here as well, and it goes, welcome to Warhammer. What is Warhammer? Collect, build and paint, play, read. Getting started. Don't just take our word for it. Yeah. Well, those are good places to start with Warhammer, but obviously the Wikipedia page, if there's anything you don't know, just click it into Google and you'll either find it for Wikipedia page or on Reddit. You know, don't trust the AI. The AI hallucinates everything. I say Google, don't go it. Yeah, don't go is such a better search engine right now. I finally switched to it on my PC because Google was just so bad. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. I've been using it on my phone for ages. Hi, Tony, by the way. So far, I like the Grey Knights and the Krieg Corps. Ooh. Yeah, they're both cool. Grey Knights is one I don't really know too much about. The Krieg Corps. But the current Guard Codex is pretty good for Krieg. It's got a big stuff on them. Oh, but it does miss a lot of stuff on the like a bunch of the old lore is just not in the new codex. But that's what the website's for. Not for website, for Wikipedia. Like, the new codex doesn't mention anything about potentially having growth fats and stuff, but that was in the 9th edition codex, or 8th edition something. I don't know. How's my day? I hope your day's been going well too. My day's been going okay-ish. Like yesterday, we had the day off, and that was partly because I had to go to a friend's birthday party. So I needed like the entire day to prepare for it. Except that I was really ill afterwards, and my adrenaline was just ridiculous. I was like, oh, I couldn't sleep, so I was just looking up how to make a Slanesh army. Oh, do you want to see the cool model I found? I'll show you the cool model I found. That I decided at all. I rolled a Siege dice to decide what model I should buy. Oh, the new Orc's bigger than the Primaris. Oh, they're the same size as the old Orcs. The knobs are just a little bit bigger than Primaris, or at least the new knobs are. The old knobs are around roughly the same size. The big boss is much bigger than a Primaris, and the war boss is absolutely giant. He's like the biggest war boss I've ever made outside of like Gaskell Thraka and stuff like that. So yeah, he's massive for new ones. But yeah, for the new Orc boys, the same size as the previous Orc boys. Actually, I don't think the new knobs are that much bigger than the previous knob. Not the do you know the one from the discontinued boys set? Monopose one. The new knobs are about the same size, except they've got on a bigger base and have a tactical rock, which makes them look bigger. There we go. But I want to show you some cool models I saw yesterday on Etsy. Where are they? Where are they? Because I wanted to make like a Demon Prince of Slanesh. But I wanted it to look kind of unique. And this is what I decided to go for in the end. It's really cool. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the top of that staff off because it looks a bit too bug-like, and replace it with something from the Slaneshi banner. And I might try replacing these things at the back with wings, adding some wings to the back. But it looks super cool. It's meant to be like a cultist who became a demon prince rather than a space marine. And I want it to have like that snaky cult vibe. I go over, hi, a guy over, Grey Knights won something. Yeah, Grey Knights were actually not only the good guys, but they won at something, kind of. But there were a couple of other models that were in contention. I was wondering about trying to use this model to go for with GW plastic, replace these with like demonette parts, replace the headdress at the back with a Slaneshi symbol, and same with the staff, and then maybe put like some coiling tentacles or something around it. I don't know. I decided against it in the end, because partly because it could trying to get past the skeletal face here is a bit difficult. And because I want my cultists, you know, to have that sort of, you know, sinister vibe to them, you know, that Slaneshi look. But there are a couple of other models. I think if I go back to Etsy, one of the other models that was in contention is this one, because this one actually has wings. And it's got the cool claws, crab claws that, you know, the others have. But this one doesn't have the crab claws. It looks more like a keeper of secrets, to be honest, than anything else. Then there was a grand... This one. This one. This was for other major contender. Or do you know models to get? Knockoff Fulgrim. No, this isn't for knockoff Fulgrim. There is a different knockoff Fulgrim. Which is literally just female Fulgrim but smaller. But yeah, I've already got this. I've already had this. This one looked really cool. But I mean, I'd have to cut this bit away. And I'm not a big fan of that sword. I'll do like a staff instead. And the main thing is, I don't like how these claws look like Tyrannid claws. Like, I could potentially like fix it up with some Slaneshi with a demonette claws to try turn it into crab claws. But yeah. At the end, I rolled a dice, a Cinchian dice. And I went for this one instead. And yeah, maybe it does look a bit like a knockoff Fulgrim, but honestly, I don't think it really matters. Because, you know, it's a demon of Slanesh. Obviously, it's kind of going to be a knockoff Fulgrim in some regard. Oh, it wouldn't be too surprising. The other models I had been looking at, but it was difficult, is that you got these characters, but everything is either too big or too small. Like this character here is way too big. She's great to demon size, if not a bit bigger. Well, this one is far too small, even if we put it on the correct size base. And honestly, she doesn't look Slaneshi enough. Then you've got... Sorry, my scroll wheel's not been doing too well today. Scroll wheel, work. Oh, what else do you have? Oh yeah, this one, which again, she's on a 40mm base, but she needs to go onto a 60mm base, so she's too small to be a demon prince. I'd thought of ways to convert to replacing her head with a Slaneshi one. Giving her some cool stuff, like maybe putting this around her. Or like having a character rising up in the middle of these blades. I also thought about cutting off this snake at this part here and then moulding a body onto it. Except this is on a 100mm round base apparently. So I don't think it would fit on a 60mm base. And on top of that, it's difficult trying to find a torso that would actually fit onto that model. I'll leave it to a Templar to charge a demon prince. What are demon pins for dead Templars she's holding? No! Not for poor Templars! Also, I'm trying to build 40,000 points of them. I can't afford to just take a spare Space Marine body and not use it in my Space Marine army. Other ideas was maybe taken for body from this thing, but it's meant, I wanted it to be a woman because, I mean, it's one of a few excuses you get to have a woman in a Space Marine army. But one of the ideas was taking this character here, replacing her head with Demonette head, replacing the top of her staff with a Slaneshi symbol, and then like putting her again in the middle of these dancing blades or something. Or she kind of looks more Cinchian, if I'm honest. I had lots of ideas, but also it's like some of the better kit bash ideas I had. It was like it starts getting very, very expensive. I'm like, I'd just rather 40k. Also, the Blood Snake feels a little too carnate. 40,000 points. What if I'm building a full chaos? I'm building a full Black Templar army. Sorry, you know, a full 1,000 Space Marines. Wait. You've not seen? Have you not seen my? Look at this new recruit. Here's my armies. That's not one of them. That was just me testing stuff out. Yeah, 8,000 points of Night Lords now for some crazy reason. 2,000 points of Corn Dudes, which is almost finished. This thing became an Ultra Dark Angel Alliance because I found the
Wait,
Dark
I just realized that a trans emperor's children could be can undo with that information. What you will?
Yeah, it can be can. Hi, Saradwin, how you doing? I'm doing well. Dead guys equal to storytelling. So, but yeah, I found Dark Vengeance really cheaply online, like super cheaply. Like I was looking for 20 cultists, like how can I cheaply get 20 cultists, and just found the Dark Vengeance box, which has 20 cultists, 6 chosen. Our champion, 1 Chaos Lord, and a Hell Brute with multi-melter, as well as 10 Dark Angel Tactical Squad, 3 Waven Wing Bikers, 5 Deathwing Terminators, a Librarian, and a Dark Angels Captain. So it's like, that's going into my first spawn army now. But yeah, that was all for the same price as just buying 20 cultists normally. So I was like, yeah, I got my 20 cultists. I got a bunch of other stuff as well. I'm not going to, I don't think I'll build 2,000 points of Custodes. We just have our 1,000 points. I kind of want to eventually get 2,000 points for Admech, but currently we're looking at on 1,000 points. Here's my Astra Militarum. Much of it's already done here. A lot of it just needs to be built. Imperial Knights, which has got to be slowly built up. Aldari, we got 2,000 points currently. Gene Stealers, 2,000 points of them because I decided to put my Vanguard Tyranids into it. Do you know my Von Ryan Leapers, Lictors, Red Terror, Ravenous, Trigon? Which has actually made me like my Gene Stealer cults again. But let's look. Go down. If I think of the neck ones, I'm at 1,000 points the neck ones. Maybe one day we'll get to 2,000 points. Maybe. This is the Orcs. This is actually how many points I roughly will have after the Armageddon release. About 3,950. Although that does include needing to get some war bikes. Yeah. And some tank busters. I want to get some tank busters. I love tank busters. Tau Empire, I still need to get to 2,000 points. We're like at 1,500 points currently. Tyranids, we'll get to 4,000 points. Well, I mean, originally was at 4,000 points, and I decided to put 1,000 points of it into Gene Stealer cults, and now it's like, I still want to get my summon folk. I want to get a couple of Carnifex. They send Black Templar, here we go, here's my Black Templar army. Yeah, so Air Force over here. We've got 3 Interceptors because we need them. Storm Raven, a couple of Thunderhawks, a Thunderhawk transporter. I've already got one of the Thunderhawks. Still not built. I need to clean up that model. Primary battle line is 3,000 points. Heavy battle line, relic battle line, relic venerable effect. And so there's a bunch of... So the relics are basically using Horus Heresy models. So this is mostly just tactical squads with a couple of assault intercessors. But they're just all made using Horus Heresy models, except for Devastator squads are just respawn Devastators. Spartan tank, Storm Eagle gunship. Yeah. What else is there? Then you've got the Venerable Veterans, which... The Centurions are actually made using Saturnine Terminators. Then you got the Terminators, the Cataphracti Terminators, some of the 500. I've not got the like 500 dreads yet. Bunch of Contemptor dreads that we do have, Spartan that we do have. Needs to be built though, that one. Hi Night Parade. Hi Paladin Steb, how you doing? Hi Erland. Wait, why did I turn into a worm? Well, because I'd already been turned into a cat, you're going to have to wait. It's going to turn me back into my normal model, then back into a worm. You can't turn me into a worm once I've already been turned into something else. Instead, it just puts it into a queue of things that need to happen. And for Plasma Battle Line, obviously, it's just plasma everywhere, which is hilarious. Like 3 Hellblaster squads, 2 Inceptor squads with plasma, Sword Brethren with plasma, Redemptor Dreadnoughts with plasma, Repulsor Executioner with plasma, Gerardale Dreadnought with plasma, Aquila Kill Teams both with plasma. Just as much plasmas and apothecaries so that we can handle all the overheating people. Then we've got the Mobile Battle Group, which is just a bunch of Crusaders in a couple of Mastodons with some Desolation squads, because I absolutely adore the Desolator unit. Then we've got the Siege Force, which is fully built. Actually, the Mobile Battle Force is also fully built. That one's almost fully painted, well, half painted. Land Raider Crusader, Land Raider of Doom. So the Siege one is basically just lots of Land Raiders and, you know, people just pushing through, like, just trying to get through a wall. That's how I imagine
Grey Knights are the best Marines for humanity's sake.
No, they're the worst ones. Did it give a warning about a timer? Here we go. And turn normal and then back to worm. Here we go. See, I told you, put it in a queue. If it didn't give a warning about the timer. So yeah. So yeah, I like to imagine this one. So you got the Dreadnought, you got the Land Raiders, sorry, the Brutalis Dreadnought pushing up with some Terminator squads inside and some elite fighters like the Sword Brethren and the Blade Guard. And then, once the walls are broken through, drop pod Infernus on the other side of the walls. And then, like, Terminators, a big squad of Terminators teleports down. Just devastation everywhere. The heavy battle line is basically just using Graphis troops everywhere. Again, a lot of Land Raiders and stuff here. Because I like the idea that everyone has transport. And then, got logistics. Have any other rapid response force? Oh no, for defense force. Yeah, so if they never need to defend anyway, you got a bunch of Crusaders. Which get dropped down behind. So the drop pods are reinforcements for Crusaders, or the people on the ground. And it drops down the assault intercessors and the Crusaders. Meanwhile, the heavies and the intercessor squads are holding the trenches, along with some gladiators and strike turrets and ballistas dreadnoughts. Yeah, holding the line. And then, when they hold the line for long enough, the drop pods come down as reinforcements. Taking the enemy from behind. Yeah! And a rapid response force is basically just lots of jump packs. Infernus Marines are inside a Storm Raven with some Terminators, and you have the Suppressor squads of the Vanguard Veterans, and the Outriders of the potentially storm tanning gunships, and a Brutalis dreadnought being dropped off by the gunship. It's fun. Then you got the stealth wing, which is all faux boss units, except for jump packs, which are given the infiltrate to keyword. So first turn charge, go Yeet. And some like Victor War suits, and for storm speeders and land speeders, since it's being piloted by Phobos foods. Then armored car. What's in the armored car? Oh yeah, this is just all different tanks. Like I love the Sicarian battle tanks, or the Kratos battle tanks, and the other gladiator variants, and my Fellblade and Falchion, and the Asterius. Eventually, one day we'll get the Asterius. I've had the Vigilant Fire Force is just because I've realised I don't really use impulsors, so I wanted to make an army that had impulsors in them. And you know, it's just dropping loads of shoot team mobile troops down everywhere. So Stern Guard veterans, intercessors. Then we've got the neophyte training. So this is just for training regiments. So it's got 6 squads of Crusaders in it and a bunch of scout squads, some rhinos of the scout squads. Some apothecaries to keep all the neophytes alive and collect gene seed. And then you've got the Vengeful Veterans, which is a Terminator detachment. It's just got as many Terminators as it can pack into a single army with a Dreadnought. And then this is just 1,070 Marines in total, including pilots of the vehicles, and 319 neophytes, including people who are helping pilot the vehicles. That's the total number of people in the chapter. And technically they're not Black Templars, they're Inquisitors. They are Inquisitors, like they, you know, if they want to get stuff. Acquisitioning your resources for themselves. Yeah, so here we go. Hi, TA! So yeah, that's for 40,000 points of Black Templar here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 13 detachments, 3,000 points each, roughly. So that's, well, it's more like 39,000, except for you got for Air Force, which brings it back up to like 42,000. So yeah, 42,000 points of Black Templar we're slowly building up to. Is this a waste of money? Probably, but my LCD requires me to do it. Oh gosh, but there you go. See, Black Templars, amazing. That's what you wanted to spend today's stream looking at. But hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Big love hearts. I was doing that for 10 minutes. It was long enough for me to cupcat, and then to stop cupcatting, and then to worm, and then to stop worming. So yeah, we've got a lot of points of stuff that we're building up to. And for Black Templar mentioned in here, and the Black Templar absolutely sucked. I feel cheated. Also, look at this guy's the Marshal of the plasma detachment. He's got a plasma pistol because it's a Marshal of a plasma detachment. Also, that's just Mastercrafted power weapon. I know it's a Thunderhammer. If you're wondering what this model originally was, it's, to give you a clue, the reason I've got green stuff on that skull is because there was a U embedded on it. I'm a small boss today. Hello! Yeah, there's a little U. It was Ferrus, not Ferrus Manus. Ferrin Avos. Ferrin Avos, that's his name. An Ultramarine character. There's actually a couple of books of him in. Maybe even more than 2. But I modified him, took a head from the head upgrades through this shoulder pad and armor, both from the Company Heroes, a backpack, some Company Heroes. That is just a random thing I had, that shield. I can't remember what that's from. This big Purity Seal Black Templar upgrade kit. That Purity Seal I think is some for Terminators. This shoulder pad is some for Black Templar upgrade kit. Anything else? Magnets! And yeah, that's it. It was a very simple conversion. But I think it massively changed the character. Like, it's not instantly recognizable as Ferren Avos right now, especially from this angle, because Ferren Avos usually is facing this direction, and you think he's pointing, which is why the skull's facing this direction. But from this angle, suddenly it looks like a completely different character. At least I do. And once it's painted, it'll feel weird. Is that my boy Falcon Hestan? Falcon Hestan? No, this isn't Falcon Hestan. This is Ferren Avos, an Ultramarine. Although he's currently a Black Templar. Oh, he's Ferren. Yeah, Ferren Avos. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Which books was he in? He was in the... Oh, he was in the book that first introduced Primaris. I think it's the first one to introduce Primaris. Avenging Sun, yeah, he was first in Avenging Sun, but he has his own book now as well. Pretty cool character. I've not read his own book, but I've read Avenging Sun. So yeah, his model was just there for ages, and I kept thinking it's super cool, but I wanted to do something with it. And by fair, I just mean like in shops, and it wasn't selling very well. I say it wasn't selling very well, but probably made loads of it. But I just finally decided to get to it. Eventually, they sold all of them, so, you know, it sold well enough. Just took a few months to sell everything. I managed to get one relatively cheaply, so I'm happy about that. And now he's a marshal for my Black Templars plasma detachment. So what's your thoughts on the fact that Citadel is becoming Warhammer colour? It's fine. I've already mentioned this when they first announced it. Well, I guess going over it again isn't bad because, you know, I probably had a bit of an initial reaction to it saying like, oh no, we got rid of Citadel, but it makes it easier. There's a big thing about if you don't go into a Warhammer store and you go into any generic model shop, crafting shop, anywhere where they sell Warhammer, and you see army colour paints and stuff like that as well. Warhammer colour is very obviously Warhammer. Like, if you go into just a generic store and you're like, okay, here's the Warhammer models. Okay, I need to get some paints. Do I buy the Citadel paints, the Army Painter paints, especially like if you're buying something for a kid or for a family member or friend and you don't know much about the hobby, you just know it's called Warhammer. You might know what army they paint. They do. And they might have said they need some blue colour. Now, maybe you'd say, okay, Falaggio or Army Paint or whatever is better than Citadel paints, which you might be correct. It's mostly opinion. I prefer the Warhammer stuff. But before, you couldn't really know what is what, especially if you're starting for the first time. You might not even know that this is like the official Warhammer paints. And you might want the official Warhammer paints. You might want the paints that are designed specifically for the plastic that is Warhammer. Now, for other paints are very likely also designed specifically for Warhammer plastic. But you don't necessarily know that. And Games Workshop mostly wants you to think that when you're buying Warhammer, you should buy Warhammer paints at the same time. Now, if they can put on the boxes, we recommend Citadel paints, but how many people actually read and pay attention to the stuff they're buying? Most people don't. So if they're not going to look at the box and say, which paint does it recommend? They're going to go to the store manager and go, hey, what paint should I pick up? And they might just point to any old paints. They might point to the paint that they have the best product sale on. Okay, I'm zoomed in. Let me just fix this thing when I'm thinking about it. Commands. Made SmolBossin. There we go. Oh, that should have. I'll change that to weight 5. Maybe that should help. But either way, like, I can see why they did it. It's basically just to improve sales. especially amongst people when they first start the game. Because the fact is most people, the first paint that they pick up is likely to be the last paint that they use as well. Like, if you pick up army paint to paints the first time, you probably just keep using army paint to paints because that's the one you're used to, that's the one you know, that's the one you bought. You're probably just going to keep using them. You might not switch. And then once you do switch, if you ever do switch, it's going to be different. You're not going to like it. So Warhammer wants you to get hooked to their paints immediately. So you buy your first box, you buy the Warhammer paints with it, and then because you're used to Warhammer paints, you continue using Warhammer paints. That's what they want you to do. And it all makes perfect sense. In addition, I don't think the change of the design is very wrong. It's very, very clear what it is. It's very clear it's the colour. It's very clear. It brings the entire brand together. It makes it very easy to tell what paints you're using. They also changed the back of these, I think, so that you got a little book on them with all the information. They also added extra languages onto it, which is nice. It's not bad that they added extra languages, like for the Japanese market. They also changed the design, partly to try getting that Japanese market. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily bad. I don't think it's necessarily super good. I mean, it's good for their business. It's good for their profit margin, I imagine. They probably had a very long discussion and thought about is it worth the amount of money it will cost to rebrand? Will that improve our sales enough? And the answer was probably yes. And if the answer probably is yes. And honestly, a lot of people have been arguing for them to do it for a very long time because they have slowly been merging a lot of their brands together. Like, originally you had Forge World, you had Warhammer, you had Citadel, you had the... You had lots of different things. And they've been slowly just merging bits of it together over the years. But it's always been a bit confusing and a bit annoying. You forgot, what other world do Eaters doing on Armageddon? Again? Oh, again, not against. Again, what are they doing here? So this takes place shortly after the Great Rift opened up. How was the lore go? It would not have started the lore. What are we talking about? Grey Knight. No, we're not talking. We've been talking about Warhammer Paint rebrand. And before that, we talked about Demon Princess. But yeah, why are the World Eaters on Armageddon again? So there's a reason for Armageddon. The first war for Armageddon was World Eaters versus Grey Knights and Space Wolves and Black Templar there? Blood Angels, potentially. But yeah, I believe the first war for Armageddon was actually against the World Eaters. And this was back in the old days of Epic and stuff. Then they basically did a big purge. The Space Wolves weren't very happy about it and killed the Grey Knights Grandmaster to stop it. But a lot of it had already occurred. People forgot about that war, and the second war of Armageddon happened, which was arcs and so on. But after the first war, there were multiple artifacts made by the cultists on Armageddon that, and predominantly deep within the forest of Armageddon, the equatorial rainforest, right in the center of it was a great pillar of chaos, specifically of corn. And anyone who went near that pillar risked getting corrupted or being driven insane. After the Great Rift opened, that pillar became even stronger, and the residual chaotic energy that was still on the planet bubbled forth. It corrupted lots of people, and lots of people who had been corrupted by the pillar and had just been like silently worshipping corn since then, started to raise their heads. They started building idols to corn, bringing more people into the fold. And they built them at specific points of the planet that made this energy bubble forth even more, until eventually in the fire wastes, a great portal burst open and from the ground poured billions of, well, just countless numbers of blood letters, and Angron himself. No, Angron himself didn't come through that, actually. Angron was on his flagship somewhere else when he suddenly felt the call to Armageddon again. And almost purely instinctively, he brought his ship, including like any ship that was nearby, towards Armageddon. And he teleported down onto the planet. His world eaters followed him. Demons and cultists were already everywhere, and they were fighting over the planet. For orcs, so they were doing like some good charges on the Prime. So you got basically two major land masses. You got, actually we can see the map in here potentially. Let's find the map. Black Templars and space, here we go. If we go back a page, we might be able to see the full map of Armageddon. Here we go. Here's a full map of Armageddon. So here's a fireways where Red Angel's Gate opened up. Here's a Cotorio jungle where there is a big old pillar in the middle of it. That was left from the last time.
Mission complete.
Hi, Vince Falcadar. Don't worry about being baited into learning about world eaters. And don't turn me into banana. No! People were asked about them. So, from here, the demons were attacking in various areas, but they mostly like conquered the fireways, or almost entirely conquered it. As they're moving down into each place, they're pouring from the different shrines that people made, especially up here. On the ruins here. Over here. Hive Tartarus was being attacked. Hell's Reach was defended by Grimaldus again. I've been reading the Hell's Reach book. Honestly, not as good as I expected it to be. Hive Infernus. They were attacking at Hive Volcanus, so they were attacking around here. Through various defensive lines. When the orcs attacked the World Eaters, spying for people in Hive Volcanus, which was the space rules that they were headed. Some time. Death Myra's another Hive. The Black Templars were fighting around here. I think it was around Hive Acheron. They moved out to take out other Hive Varadis. But then they got countered by like some storm and all sorts of chaotic stuff. And they came back to Hive Acheron to find that half of the people that left to defend it, which were mostly Salvar Chemdogs, the people famed for backstabbing. Being backstabbing criminals. Yeah, half of them, decided to turn into backstabbing criminals and join the bad guys. So they decided to completely purge the city. Any parts of the city that had fallen to chaos, everyone got purged. The Space Wolves are very upset, but the Black Templars were like, they deserved it. And yeah, the Black Templars are being crazy here. I don't like it. I didn't get any cool moments except just the quick talking of Grimaldus going to Hive's Hell's Reach and immediately just saving it. Well, that's like just a footnote. It's like kind of sad. The Space Wolves got so many cool moments. It's actually kind of upsetting that Black Templars are just basically tertiary antagonists in this entire story. With no cool moments. Angron got loads of cool moments too. The Grey Knights have loads of cool moments. They destroyed the pillar in the Victoria jungle. They destroyed lots of the shrines elsewhere. And they got a bunch of void missiles or warheads to destroy Angron. And now we're learning about them going to Red Angel's Gate to take out Red Angel's Gate now that Angron's been banished, at least temporarily. But unfortunately, the Great Rift is open, and as a result, it's easier for him to come back. Hi, Sir Honey Rose, how you doing? You look orange now. You do look orange. It's the sun, but do you see anything? It's got a big old black splodge on it. From the sun. But yeah. There we go. Water plants. Oh yeah, this place was also fine in the Deadlands. So yeah, that's basically everything that happened last time. The last time on Cupcon Ball said. So here we go. Assault of a fire race. This is exactly where we got to. And look at that dude. We might need to turn this little light off here. Oh no, that light. Actually, wait. How did turning the light on help us then? But yeah. Look at the grey knight. Oh, is that the baby carrier? It's a baby carrier. Or is it just a Terminator? It's hard to tell. I think it's a Dread Knight. No, yeah, it's a Dread Knight. It's a Dread Knight. He's got a big old knife. I mean, by sword. I'm British. We just see any blade as a big old knife. Do you think the Black Templars and Space Wolves are aware now as to what actually summoned them to Armageddon? Do they still believe the lies? Oh yeah, both the Space Wolves and the Black Templars both got like visions of the Emperor and stuff. To go to Armageddon, but it turned out just two Grey Knights using psychic powers to influence the minds of the people on Armageddon. Not Armageddon, just to it was a Grey Knights sending messages to both of them, trying to disguise themselves as like messages from the Emperor. As far as we know, they can't tell. There was a bit of a thing of like it's suggesting that they don't necessarily believe it was a sign for the Emperor, but it seemed too important to ignore. The Black Templars had like a big argument about it, saying, do we really think it's actually a sign for the Emperor? And they didn't necessarily think it was, but they thought it was too important to ignore it anyway, just in case it was a sign from the Emperor. So it's entirely possible that they do think it was a lie by the Grey Knights, but no one really knows the Grey Knights well enough except maybe the Space Wolves, but the Space Wolves even don't know the Grey Knights well themselves. They both know of the Grey Knights, but they don't know that they would be capable of doing something like that, or even if they were, that they would do something like that.
For those who don't know what a Photino bird is, they're from the Zeely sequence.
So yeah. The Grey Knights are really speedrunning extinction. Yeah, it cost the Grey Knights a hell of a lot to send those messages though. It sounds like that they burnt out some of their best psychers just to send a couple of messages to the Space Wolves and Black Templars. Why specifically for Space Wolves and Black Templars? Well, there's a few reasons. They didn't say why. One, they've both fought in Armageddon before and saved Armageddon. They're both seen as heroes of Armageddon, so, you know, they're the ones most likely to get people. Two, both of them are extremely good at fighting corruption. Like, for Black Templar, their faith gives them a greater shield against corruption than most of the chapters do. And they also are much more skilled and knowledgeable of fighting chaos than most of the chapters. Three, they're probably in the area nearby since the Black Templars were hunting Gaskell, so they could actually respond. The Space Wolves, again, are very good at fighting chaos. They fought chaos before. They've been on Armageddon before. And a lot of the Grey Knights actually do trust the Space Wolves. Like, we have to remember, when the Grey Knights fought for Space Wolves, a lot of Grey Knights sided with the Space Wolves. Not so much that they would fight on the side of the Space Wolves, but they refused to fight for Space Wolves. But like, no, we agree with the Space Wolves. We're just not going to go ahead with this plan, and we're not going to stop the Space Wolves from attacking the other Grey Knights. I mean, we'll never turn on our brothers, but... So, yeah. You have to remember, a lot of the Grey Knights do actually respect the Space Wolves of that. But both of them also do listen to portents of the Emperor. They do get visions of the Emperor. They act upon visions and guides and stuff like that as a result. They're easy to manipulate using those kinds of methods rather than just straight up asking them to. And on top of that, neither of them are the type where if you just asked them to do something, where they'd actually do it. So you have to manipulate them. And they probably were both relatively in the area to begin with. So yeah, that's the reason they called for him. That's the reason they probably sent the messages to them. There's obviously other chapters like the Exorcist that are very good at fighting chaos, but they might have not been in the area, and they would be a lot harder to manipulate into coming. There were other chapters on the planet because they did have an entire order of battle somewhere in here. Can we find the order of battle? The number of forces on the planet. Here we go. Yeah, there are other space marines. You got the raptors on the planet, the sons of the phoenix, the hammers of dawns, the mortifactors. They're also good at fighting chaos, I believe. Salamanders, the silver skulls, the space wolves and black templars brought the largest forces, except maybe the grey knights. So yeah, they weren't the only chapters there, and there also other. If you read this, basically says there were other chapters potentially, but these are the ones that were recorded. So yeah, there we go. The Grey Knights are, I guess, a bit like Crusaders. So here we go, striking back against chaos. Where's my knife? I need my knife. I don't feel comfortable with a knife in my hands. Knife! No! Knife! There it is. Oh, there we go. Yes, my knife. Oh. For battles raging in Armageddon Prime, comparing any faction to Grey Knights is mean to the other factions. No! Grey Knights are kind of cool, to be honest, though. Bet you if they got new models, you'd be like, oh my gosh, they're too cool for school. The battles raging in Armageddon Prime as the Commander's Hive drew the ancient offer most of the world's defenders. Yet the conflict in the corrupted Badlands and mutated desert expanse of Fireways determined its fate. Yeah, because the portal is where they're coming from, they need to close the portal. Long before the World Eater's invasion, the loyalist forces stationed in the eastern regions of the Fireways had borne the brunt of a demonic incursion upon Armageddon. They had been subject to repeated attacks by infernal manifestations that clawed as violently at minds as they did at flesh. Many were driven mad or submitted to the whispered promises of fiendish beings, turning upon their allies. I feel it's impossible to call the Grey Knights cool without having to say kinda and then explain what they need. No, look, okay, you know what? I've got to show you cool stuff from the Grey Knights. You asked for this to learn. Space Marines, Grey Knights. Where are they? Look at Castellan Crow. Look at this guy. Look, he's got a cool demon blade. And it's trying to corrupt him, but it can't because, you know, Demon Blade corrupted Fulgrim, a Primarch. Can it corrupt Crow? No, he's too smooth brain. Look how cool this dude is. And he also gets a helmet if he wants. Oh, look at him. Look at that model. But what else do they have? They have a Grey Knight. Oh, look at this dude. Look at those cool helmets. Look at the tabards. Look, we got spears. Don't open the website, please. It's too late. It's too late. You asked for this to land. You asked for this. And look at this guy. Oh, I mean, he's not too cool. He's got a silly hat on. Have a look at this. It's a rhino. I didn't mean to open for rhino. What else do they have? They got the strike squad. Look at these dudes. Oh, they got big old swords. And look, I've got a little minigun thing and a big old purgy flamer. And oh my gosh, is that? Look, it's a baby carrier. The coolest baby carrier I've ever seen. Oh, yeah. Inferno. Inferno. Yeah. Really can't wait to see when the Empress stands up, because no way will it be what sat down. I saw someone else say that what gets up will be the god of the Imperium, made merciless and hateful. Yeah. So I had an idea when I was reading one of the books about something, and it makes me think that the Imperium's going to get split into two again, but this time it's going to be ideological differences. You're going to get the religious side of the Imperium, such as the Black Templars, the Sisters of Battle, and the newly risen god. And he might not rise on Terra. He might rise somewhere else. And it's going to be the Emperor of Mankind, but it's going to be the literal god divinity side. Meanwhile, you're going to get the more logical side of the Imperium, such as Gulliman, the Ultramarines, the non-religious people, the Grey Knights, and they're going to be accompanied by the, what do we call it? Not the the Star Child. So the Star Child is a rumoured reincarnation of the Emperor, where he will get reincarnated as a new perpetual, and it's going to be shedded. It's going to shed all of that, what made him a god, effectively. All of that hate, all of that angst is going to go to this new evil thing, where all of the logic and the compassion is going to be with a reincarnated Star Child. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard from the books I've been reading. That's what it feels like is going to happen. The Imperium's going to get split into two. And you're going to have the super religious zealot side of the more logical side. One led by the Star Child, which is the logical side, and one led by the... And the Primarchs, the returning Primarchs are going to get split into two as well, with a... I think Dawn would be on the religious side. Like, he's going to come back all crazy and zealous with the Black Templars. And Falcon will probably be on the logical side. Don't know about the other Primarchs. So yeah, that's what I thought would happen. It sounds kind of cool, but at the same time, it's just a way to sell even more Space Marine tights. So, anyway, yeah, here we go. The disastrous situation. So, many were driven mad or submitted to the whispers. Wait, did we get how far? So, people in the fireways have been subjected to many attacks. Many were driven mad or submitted to whispered promises of fiendish beings turning upon their allies. A disastrous situation was soon exacerbated by a lack of supplies and beleaguered hives in the grip of uprising, resulting in many defensive positions abandoned entirely to blood gods worshippers. Defensive lines constructed to contain Gaskell Orc hordes now lay in the clutches of heretics and demons. The Roman Empire are deficient. Yeah, they'll be starting to like that. And you can already see it's kind of been divided already. You got Imperium Nihilus on one side, where anything can happen. Which is kind of more... At first it seemed like it was going to fall to chaos, but now, it's not. I've only got the Imperium proper on the other side. So yeah, always turns that the Cameron goes the Star Child theory is incorrect. I did hear recently that the Star Child theory is being debunked by something that happened to the Horus Heresy novels, but I haven't had a chance to look into it yet. Oh, I've not read the Horus Heresy novels yet. But either way, I wouldn't be surprised even without the Star Child if that deficient occurred within the Empire. Empire of Man. I believe it's the Eisenhorn series at the moment that has created a new planet that's identical to Terra. And is said where the Emperor will rise. So, Is it the Eisenhorn or is it some other series? Again, I need to actually read it. But A lot of these things are interlinked with one another. You read one book and it goes into another book, and then sometimes you're having to Google because it's like, what? But yeah, there's a lot going on in a lot of these things. So, with that being said, I don't know. You never know with Warhammer Lore. You don't know what's going to be kept. You don't know what's just a red herring. You don't know what was intentionally going to happen, but then they decided against it, and now they switched to something else. I don't know if I'd ever split the Imperium like that, to be honest. So before attention could be turned to sealing for Red Angel's Gate, Grandmaster Morvan and his loyalist forces would need to land on the southern shores of the Fireways and clear the traitors from their positions. The Grandmaster now had an army of considerable might at his disposal, composed of more than 24 Astra Militarum regiments of varying strength and speciality. Amongst these military assets were the regiments of Colonel Corps 74 Live Corps, reconstituted following the Battle of Imperator Line, and well versed in fighting their inimical conditions similar to foes they would experience. Conditions of Fireways were notoriously deadly, with temperatures high enough to scorch unprotected flesh, rampant radiation, industrial pollution, and toxic storms. According to the distorted readings from orbiting space marine vessels, the fluctuating warp phenomenon pulsing from the Red Angel's Gate added a new layer of lethality to the continent's environment. Even the Death Corps' ability to fight on in the face of terrible conditions will be tested in the battles to come. Conveying such a large force across the treacherous rolling sea was arduous and logistically complex. Though the orbital battle by this stage turned in favour of the Navus Imperialis, the Space Marine Fleet traitor aircraft remained a constant threat, and few air defences could be spared. Thus, most Astra Militarum soldiers, armour and material were to cross the tempestuous oceans on various mercantile craft, military landers, and requisitioned ocean-going vessels. Some departed from the Vulcanus Archipelago. Sorry, whacked my microphone with a book edge. Departed from Vulcanus Archipelago, making the treacherous journey through those island chains. Others board at Yarrick's Hope, a harbour far to the east, one of the few districts to have escaped absolute annihilation when asteroids levelled Hades' hive. The Space Marines under Horsa and Lintai mustered at Phoenix Island, located no more than a few miles from the shores of the Fireways. Here, Horsa's Black Templars set about purging scattered traitor forces and re-establishing control over the Victorna starport. Mainly seized intact, this facility would serve as resupply and rearming station for the coming assault, enabling Imperial assets to fly close air support for ground troops, drop aid to frontline units, and deploy reinforcements into the fight as and when required. The first landings of the Fireways were set to be made to the south of the Chaya Vanas mines. Morven's Grey Knight struck ahead of the main force, inserting a teleport strike and restore Maven gunship to engage the enemies and drive well-equipped and determined units of traitor infantry from war positions overlooking the shores. Flintey's Wolf Scouts infiltrated bunter networks and destroyed stubbornness in gun batteries. Thus, when the assault ramps on the first landers dropped, the emerging Imperial troops were only met with a smattering of mortar rounds and small arms fire. Oh, again, we're not seeing Black Templars do anything. Wolf Scouts get to do stuff. The Grey Knights get to do stuff. Orbitable Overwatch. The Void Battle above Armageddon had long been decided in the favour of Imperium by the time the assault of the Fireways began. Black Templar! Again getting a footnote. As the Eternal Crusader Black Templar vessel and All Father's Honour withdrew to effect repairs to their damaged tools, Oh, never mind. We didn't get to do anything cool. The Grey Knight battle barge, bright sword, settled into low orbit, its teleport tomes flickering to life in preparations to deploy additional forces as and when required. Meanwhile, Tech Marines marshaled surfer gun crews, readying weapon batteries to provide fire support immediately. Writer of this book must have been a Grey Knight's apologist, maybe, and a Black Templar hater. With the Loyalist forces still making landfall on the coastline, the first waves of Death Corps infantry routed and remained. And the remaining coastal defenders. The first waves of Death Corps infantry routed the remaining coastal defenders and pressed north. Okay. Ahead of them lay the Chaya Ranis ore works, a colossal network of strip mines and deep shafts, carving chimney stacks and workcab blocks, beyond which lay the rather formidable defences of the Ranis fortified region, initially constructed to contain rampaging orcs in the interior of fireways. The network of defences was now occupied by traitor units, including elements of the Aphista Penal Legions, the Hadean Hounds, and the Ascada inscribed Cult of Crimson Deliverance. That's a bit of a mouthful of a name. Resistance within the Chayavanis ore mines proved heavy. Packs of cultists and mutants emerged from mine shafts and caverns to ambush loyalist infantry as they moved north. World Eaters, Fighter Craft, and Helldrakes hunted the skies, descending to strafe infantry caught in the open. Demon packs ripped their way into reality to attack the exposed flanks of infantry columns, and traitor artillery fire whistled overhead before detonating their midst. I do think that every Chaos Space Marine faction should get access to cultists and accursed cultists. Even if you give them different rules in each faction, like not every single faction needs the cultists to be cheap objective takers. Like in the Khorne one. Like, how would you do for Khorne cultists? Like, I mean, I know they've already got plenty of cultists in the forms of jackals and goremongers, but like, they're tough super fighters. What about the cultists that are, newly converted? They're not pumped full of chems, they're just, angy. And you don't have any mutant cultists as well. I mean, I guess you've got the... Oh, what's it called? For Dishonored and for Jackal Squad, I guess. But yeah, we need... I mean, I guess you got a Chaos Spawn. Very close enough to mutant cultists. But Cursed cultists would still be fun. Actually, we need to re-release the Dark Vengeance cultists by themselves, with guns and stuff. And that way, you can get cultists with firearms for the... World Eaters. So you've at least got one unit that can do some moderately okay shooting. The environs themselves brought their own danger. Howling irradiated sandstorms swept from the septum further inland, causing rad sickness amongst the advancing soldiers. Empiric hallucinations afflicted advancing columns. The ground itself churned and shifting, opening chasms that separated units and swallowed tanks whole. Inch by inch, the Death Corps troops pushed on. Black Templars and Space Wolves launched targeted attacks on enemy strongpoints, while Morphin's Grey Knights destroyed demonic assailants wherever they appeared. With heavier loyalist assets landing to the south, artillery pieces and armoured vehicles moved forward to clear heretic survivors. After 2 days of bitter fighting. I thought this would be hours, but no, it's taken them days. They're actually using proper, timing for this. Because that's got to take days to do. But in Warhammer, you often, especially in Space Marines, it was a bit to fight, but it only lasted a couple of hours. That can actually be very true in advances, though. You can advance very far in a single day, if you really want to push your troops. Through lots of fights. You've got to take massive casualties, but you can do it. I think you're not necessarily going to be able to hold the land back. Within 10 miles of the Iron Line. After 2 days of bitter fight, the Loyalists had moved within 10 miles of the Iron Line. At the dawn of the third day, the breakthrough assault began. Ascara, the Ensquined, had withdrawn from Fordis to oversee the defence of the areas north of the Chayarana. So Ascarv Ensgrind is a quick chaos cultist that helps summon Anglon. There she had established, through no small measure of violence, a loose alliance of cultists, murderers, and turncoat soldiers equipped to purloined and viral gathered in gear to protect them. The traitors were also supported by the Legio Fulcro Banelord Titan and 2 smaller Reaver Titans, oh my gosh, all of which numbered south from the vicinity of a Red Angel's Gate. I keep thinking that's going to say Red Angel Cake. But yeah, they got the Red Angel Cake. They're fighting the cakes. No, cakes are friends, not food, not enemies. To take up positions behind the line. The first wave of Imperial attackers struck after punishing preparatory barrage intended to soften the traitor defences. Instead, they found an advance halted by the Titan's fire. Gouts of boiling blood vaporized loyalist soldiers and armoured transports were trampled beneath titanic armoured feet, or swept aside by gigantic demon weapons. Even notoriously determined warriors for Death Corps threatened to break beneath the terrifying onslaught. Spurned on by the destruction, the defenders lost what little discipline they possessed, charging into the wavering Death Corps soldiers with reckless fury and suffering terrible casualties of their own. Amid the carnage manifested Khan's demons drawn by the increasing violence to sate their bloodlust. The arrival of the loyalist titans of the Legio Crucis saw the conflict turn into the loyalist favour. Wading out to the boiling... Oh my gosh, they waded from the boiling... They walked through the ocean. Came the freshly repaired Warlord Titans, Area, Ferrum, and Cataphractus Pugnus. Either that's a very shallow ocean that we managed to cross, which is possible. Because if we look at the map, the fireways isn't far away. It's very possible that there were beds. Like, they're travelling this distance. Like, they're going around for ore mines. So, you can very imagine that there are channels of more shallow ocean. That we might have been able to walk through. But, you know, Titans probably are environmentally sealed. They could have, like, walked underwater for all we know. I bet the ocean's not even that. I bet you it is. Or at least sometimes it's boiling. Arrival of the loyalist titans, yeah, did great columns of steam boiled from a gigantic farm. See, it is boiling. Clumps of desiccated aquatic vegetation falling from their bodies as they strove forward to engage their corrupted cause. So it sounds like they were fully underwater and submerged as they walked across. That's the coolest thing ever. They need to make this a film. Create a short term. All I want is just the cool scenes of this. Just Titans walking out of a boiling ocean is hilarious. My thought is that they had a ship where it's like 20 meters off the coast. They tried to gain aura of it. Maybe. There's a few instances in the Forge Worlds where attack in Horror Heresy where they walked to the seabed to get between continents. That's amazing. Bodies of fire from the 2 loyalist titans struck their enemies, toppling the Reavers and forcing the Torad Mars to retreat north. There we go. Back. I'm gonna mute while people read. So I need to blow my nose. That's hay fever. And talking makes it worse. Grandmaster Morvane's preservers were not alone in heeding Titans, the planet, call to arms, well, for moon more like. Grandmaster Aldrich Folders and Brother Captain Arvan Stern rallied the fractured Third Brotherhood and set course for Armageddon. By the time they arrived in system, the World Eater's invasion was already in full swing, with Morvane's brothers leading efforts on the planet's surface. Folders and Stern joined the void battle raging in high orbit. For a strike user and master, folders and stern undertook boarding actions. So these are like the named characters you can buy models of against the enemy vessels. Boarding actions! Oh, that's the game mode you can play. Battling possessed warriors and frenzied demons within blood-drenched innards or trait to ships, sabotaging engine cores, slaughtering bridge crews, and helping drive the Chaos Fleet back to the fringes of the system. The Red Angel's Gate, they're finally here. Spread out across the fire race and beyond, moulded by the hands of Angron's devotees, and each positioned in areas saturated with empiric energies, rose towering monoliths to a Red Angel's might. These mark sites of forgotten battlefields, brutal slaughters, and other places cursed by Angron's demonic touch. The Grey Knights of the Fifth Brotherhood spent much time pinpointing these locations of critical monoliths. In Armageddon, Prime, and Secundus, they shattered several such structures. Their actions drove back the warp storms assailing these heavily populated regions. The fireways, however, were a different matter. The empiric anomalies boiled the heavens above, and the land bore the scars of boundless corruption. By shattering key monoliths near Red Angel's Gate, the Grey Knights sought to weaken the bonds that gave them portal permanence. This would enable the Grandmaster Morvain to conduct a grand banishing ritual sealing it for good. Two anchoring monoliths would have to be destroyed, both of which lay at crucial junctions of the most prominent ley lines, the southeast and southwest of the Red Angel's Gate. Oh yeah, ley lines, that's where a lot of these monoliths and stuff were built. That's a word I was struggling to remember before. Neither would be easy to reach or destroy. The occult connections that tied each to Armageddon's crust would need to be broken, a task which only the Grey Knights could perform. This would mean dividing their strength at least temporarily. The first of the monoliths rose to the southeast of the Crimson Mesa, the flat-topped mountain about whose crown the Red Angel's Gate itself roiled. Oh! Flat-topped Crimson Mesa! You know what that reminds me of? Dragon Ball Z! That's like where they do half the fighting on Earth. Oh yeah! Angron and the Grey Knights gonna have like a full Dragon Ball Z battle, you know, Kamehamehas, flying around, smashing one another through the mountains. They need to. Castellan Hoser and his remaining sword brothers would lead the attack upon this position. The second two stood to the southwest of the portal amid the black lung tar pits. Stryborn Flint-Eye Space Wolves would take responsibility for this assault. Morphins would lead the third and largest forces. Oh, so Castellan Hauser and the Sword Brothers, yeah, they're Black Templars. Morphins would lead the third and largest force, pressing towards the Crimson Mesa and clearing a path for the final assault. Yeah, obviously Castellan Hauser is Grey Knight, not Grey Knight, Black Templar. Blood red skies and rolling storm clouds bloated most of the sunlight, leaving the entire region bathed in crimson twilight, as if the stifling heat and toxic winds were not enough. The lands around the embattled armies now resembled the pits of the infernal abyss. Needles of brass, capped with volcanic rock, had erupted from the earth to loom over the landscape. Towering butts topped with brass cannelations and strewn with macabre trophies soared where once the land had been low and pocked with craters. Oh, the big battle between Angron and the Grey Knights. Look at a big old halo. Look at a demon getting absolutely obliterated. Is that a Skull Taker of all things? Or is that just a cultist? Or is that a Bloodfister? Yeah, I think that's a Bloodfister. I think that's just a Bloodfister too. I don't think that's actually Angron. Loyalist soldiers were whittled by the heat, driven insane by the nightmarish horrors they witnessed, or rendered comatose by pockets of enervating radiation. No time could be taken to recover or bury the fallen. The passage of each army was marked by corpses stripped of their weapons and left to rot where they fell. The Brazen Citadel. The southeastern monolith rose from an expanse of barren land marred by impact craters. A naturally curving rock peak towered from the ground at a sharp angle. The anchoring monolith's tip had been carved to resemble a carnate demon's face, and its features were twisted into an expression of fury. Around the base of the jutting rock rose a tangle of brass stone buildings and spike-lined ramparts that appeared to have grown out of the earth and lent the structures its moniker, the Brazen Citadel. The monolith was heavily defended. Traitor armour and fortified positions ringed the brass citadel. The blasted waste of the citadel south offered the advancing loyalists little cover. Without fire support, Holzer, without the fire support, Holzer's assault would swiftly grind to a halt. Therefore, he directed 4 platoons. I've finally got to get Black Templars doing something cool. 4 platoons of the Asani Ford Shark 645 Mechanized Infantry Regiment to loop east and seize Doisen Heights, a vantage point the Castle intended to use as a fire base to support its advance. They were accompanied by Black Templar's dreadnought brother Clafan. Together they cleared the traitor guards in position and enabled the Asani to set their artillery pieces in position. Talon and Armageddon Steel Legion armoured regiments meanwhile circled wide to the west. They sought to cross the mud-lit Badlands and outflank the enemies. However, a passage through the Badlands was blocked by the heavy armour of a Gordred's warband and squadrons of Lehman Russ tanks operated by Turngoat. Grave and Exculpatus. The loyalist transports accelerated towards the objective, dividing into armoured spearheads and plunging into the heretic forces opposing them. The Black Templars led a frontal assault to the Brazen Citadel's southern fortifications, using armoured transports to close within a few hundred yards of the structures. Fight for the Chaya Ranas. In the wake of Imperial victory at the Chaya Ranas mines, the scattered traitors fled from the hills. Most deprived of supply and shorn of their enviral gear succumbed to receiving heat or lethal radiation that infested these regions. Some, however, rallied the side of Ascala the Inscribed. Desperate to atone for their defeat and earn back Khan's favour, these devotees or blood gods struck north, pursuing the loyalists towards the Crimson Mesa. Ooh, we gotta get loot. Right, what's this? The loyalist gun positions on the Doisen Heights rained fire on the brass ramparts, twisting metal and obliterating fiends and mortar defenders alike. Flights of winged abominations and Helldrake demon engines soared towards the Desinan Heights to silence artillery. Dreadnought Buffer Carfan and allied Ursani infantry sacrificed themselves to hold off a demonic onslaught and keep their ordnance firing for as long as possible. As the attack advanced, the gates of vast fortresses of a monolith's base opened wide, disgorging waves of demons that crashed into the attacking Black Templars. Hordes of Space Marines disembarked their transports to engage in bloody hand-to-hand combat with packs of demons. The attack of the Citadel's perimeter drained the fortress of most of its mortar defenders, enabling the Grey Knight squads to teleport to the now weakened fortifications. Reciting a litanies of purification, they doused the structure's interior of Titan's holy waters and drove empiric power of the anchoring monolith. Only then did they cut their way free, calling in orbital strikes to obliterate what remained. Oh no! Does that mean all the Black Templars died there? The Gar Beacon. While the fighting raged around the Brazen Citadel, Stryborn Fleet Tide took charge of the assault of the southwest monolith, leading his Space Wolves and detachments of Death Corps infantry to seize the objectives. This pyramidal ziggurat, was formed of blackened rock and bleached bone, and its face was studded with skulls and leering gargoyles. From the fanged maws of these demonic carvings gushed a noxious oozing effluent thick with blood, brass, and lumps of indeterminate gore. Scaffolds laden with skulls and grotesque banners rose on its stepped flanks, and around its base writhed hideous masses of butchered flesh and stitched sinew. It was little wonder that the anchoring monolith was known to the heretics as the Gore Beacon. It dominated the black lung tar pits, a treacherous expanse of anticlinal traps. Warp corruption caused through the Prometheum-sodden bedrock, causing the sticky masses to bubble and spit. Burning gas, toxic fumes, and dark blood-like liquid ooze of the noxious mire. Stryborn Flinteye, unable to risk moving heavier assets across the treacherous ground, was forced to assault the Gar Beacon with infantry alone, in the wake of Wolf Scouts and Fenrisian wolves, whose keen instincts were well suited to locating a route through the bubbling tar pits. Small packs of Space Wolves and Death Corps infantry squads picked their way forward. Some strayed from the path and were stuck in the morass. Others succumbed to the toxic fumes, coughing up blood and fragments of their own dissolved lungs. That doesn't sound fun. As Imperial attackers crossed the mire, Berserkers emerged from the heat haze to match blades of Flint-Eye Space Wolves and butchered tightly clustered groups of Astra Militarum soldiers. Jarok Skriel and his 8-bound oversaw the counter-assault, aiming to lure the loyalists deep into prepared kill zones and striking from warp-rifts to ambush their foes. While they're fighting to take the Gar Beacon rage to the surface, Grey Knight gunships roared down with the storm clouds to deploy strike squads onto the stepped sides of the Ziggurat to begin the cleansing rituals. The arrival of the Grey Knights immediately caught the attention of Jarok Skriel and his Ascati, who abandoned the battle against the Space Wolves and their human allies, and ascended the Guard Beacon's flanks in a desperate attempt to prevent the Grey Knights from achieving their goals. Skriel's 8-bound tore through the warp, emerging amongst the Grey Knights and engaging them in a furious fight. Empowered by the empiric energies coursing through the monolith's obsidian mass, Skriel cut his way through the Templars of Titan. The bisected corpses of the silver-clad space marines split yet more blood on the gore-encrusted Ziggurat. Seeing the Grey Knight's plight, Stryborn Flinteye and his remaining wolf guard fought their way to the Gar Beacon and through the writhing mass of flesh, entrails and grasping limbs ringing its base. Ascending the scaffold rising around the structure, they joined the fight. Flinteye cleaved a path through the 8-bound to engage Skriel in single combat. Steel clashed and blood flowed. Flinteye and Skriel's vicious duel unfolded at the heart of the carnage, the two champions inflicting terrible wounds upon one another. Bleeding from a dozen lethal injuries, Flinteye struck the final blow, burying his axe in Slaughter Lord's skull. See again! The Black Templars were just fighting. They didn't even say they're fighting space marines, just demons. And none of the Black Templars got a cool moment. But here's Flinteye fighting a named 8-bound. And, you know, doing well. Bleeding from a dozen lethal injuries, Flinteye struck a final blow, burying his axe to the skull Lord's skull. Yeah, killing him. With a cry of anguish, Skriel's body erupted in an explosion of gore and shards of splintered bone, his demonic possessor howling as it was drawn back into the warp. Flinteye's sacrifice brought the Grey Knight's time required to complete the ritual. The Gar Beacon's amphibian surface cracked and splintered as empiric forces erupted from within. The surviving Grey Knights vanished amid emergency teleportation flares in instants before a colossal detonation swallowed the surviving Space Wolves and 8-bound alike. Yeah, and both times, both were sacrificed, you know, to complete the goal. But Flinteye got a cool moment. Castellan Hauser over here. He didn't even mention if he survived or not. He's like, nah, they just obliterated it from orbit. Well, come on! Like, we gotta mention these factions. Give some cool moments to, you know, different things. And heck, this is actually a bit of an insult to the World Eaters, as you know, a named Slaughterbound character got killed by, you know, a Wolf Scout. I mean, he's a Wolf Lord, basically, but still. As the Gar beacon splintered into countless thousands of shards, earthquakes rippled out from the mountains. Atop the Crimson Mesa's summit, and storm wreathed the mass of a Red Angel's Gate, flickered beneath a blazing glare of Armageddon's star, weakened yet still unbroken. Cool, Grey Knight. Also, Grey Knight, this is like an old picture. Ancient. I would even for this war, to be honest. The Battle for the Crimson Mesa. As Holtz and Flint Eye's forces set about shattering the anchoring monoliths, Grandmaster Morphanes led his force to the base of the Crimson Mesa. Atop this mountainous plateau blazed the manifest heart of the Red Angel's Gate itself, a cracking tempest of warp energy that cast its malevolent pall over the fire wastes. Oh. The empiric disruption surrounding the Crimson Mesa was such that attempting to strike by teleportation or dropship would have proven too dangerous even for the Grey Knights. Any such attempts would surely have seen them tore apart, body and soul. Instead, having girded himself within the frame of a Nemesis Dread Knight, Morphanes led the massed ranks of Astra Militarum infantry and their engines of war towards the looming mass of the Crimson Mesa. With a Garn and Thoreen piloting their own Nemesis Dread Knights marched at his side, more than 20 of the 5th Brotherhood's elite followed in their wake. Leading the Loyalist advance were multiple divisions of Death Corps armoured tanks of varying patterns and vintage, all bearing the scars of centuries of ceaseless battle. Cowled infantry marched behind the armoured hulks, shielding themselves from incoming fire. Interspaced amongst the vanguard were small squads of Space Wolves and Black Templars. Their task would be to support the Death Corps advance, fleeing for particularly stubborn resistance. Between the Loyalists and the Crimson Mesa, the mutated landscape bristled with ridges of brass and bone. Most of these fortified positions faced Morphane's direction of advance, forming successive layers of defence that their traitorous defenders had further reinforced. Turncoat infantry scurried behind these unnatural defilades, preparing to repel the Loyalist assault. Camel netting was pulled back, revealing the long barrels of artillery pieces and anti-armour ordnance. Weapon teams hauled heavy stubbers, autocannons and other guns into place. Additionally, additional sandbag emplacements had been dug deep and atop each ridgeline, allowing for tanks of the traitor regiments to take positions that obscured their hulls, leaving only their turrets visible. Flying positions carved from solid rock and prefabricated bunkers bristling with weapons were scattered across the line. Beyond the defensive position rose the mesa itself, a single scalable route rose on the southern edge of the mountains to reach its flattened peak. Loyalist armour ground forwards, exchanging fire with the traitors. Within seconds of the first shot, the battlefield was thick with smoke, the stench of burning promethium and the spit crackle of ammunition cooking off. Death Corps infantry emerged from behind the steel cover, using the smoke clouds to close upon the traitor positions. Auto guns stubber fire failed line after line of Death Corps soldiers, yet still they came forward, charging ahead of their Krieg allies. The Space Marines brought grenades, flamers and mortar guns to bear on bunkers, laying mortar charges on the enemy armour and silencing positions with merciless blade work. With each breach, the Loyalists emerged into new fields of fire and were forced to repeat their assaults, losing hundreds of soldiers for each yard gained. Yet eventually, within the last ridge line, fleet of opposition, the Loyalists reached the base of the Crimson Mesa, with empiric anchors binding the warp storms to fire waste sufficiently weakened. All that remained was for the Grey Knights to seal the portal. Box channels buzzed with activity as Morphanes prepared his assault to the Crimson Mesa. Most Astra Militarum platoons remained at the base of the mesa, rallying around Colonel Kors and his command squad, taking cover amidst the rubble to cover the rear. The Space Wolves, Grey Knights and Black Templars led the assault to the slopes, pressing forward under heavy fire to clear snarling cultists from bolt holes and clefts in the rock face. Numerous monstrous and psychotic foes streamed down from the mesa's summit to intercept Marvain's force. But the Space Marines' momentum was now unstoppable. The Grey Knights, led by Marvain's nemesis Dread Knights, put sway through the demonic hordes, streaming. The Loyalists did not take long to reach the mountain's flattened peak and the furious empiric glare that rose above it. The mesas reaching the gate. The mesa's peak had a diameter of several miles across, most obscured by storm clouds and crackling fogs of empiric fire. The red mass of the Angel's Gate hung above the centre, pushing like a beating heart. Had Marvin's gone and Foren... Oh, as, not at. How do I keep misreading that? As Marvin's gone and Foren drove back the demons with Peace Silencer. I don't know if that's like when it says Peace Silencer or if it's like Silencer or Psychic Silencer. I don't know how to say that. Psychic Silencer fire and sweeping blows from their nemesis dread weapons. Librarian Torvik led 8 Grey Knight Paladins closer to the gate. Each bore a shard of Angron's shattered black blade in one gauntleted hand. As their Terminator brothers held back the waves of cultists and demons streaming across Mesa's Peak, the Paladins held the Shires aloft and channeled their psychic might into the hell-forged metal. They chanted sorcerous incarnations while tracing fire and blood hexagons in the air. The 8 fragments of a black blade rose to float before the glowing mass of the gate. Librarian Torvik stood closer to the portal's blazing heart, raising his warding staff aloft as he uttered the syllables of the sealing spell. Within the fractured blade, fragments acting as an arcane focus, the Grey Knights pulled their psychic might to reverse the flow of empiric ley lines, drawing Angron's fury out of the planet's crust and back into the heart of the Red Angel's Gate. The mountain shook, tremors rippled from ley lines and the opening chasms of the earth. The gate contracted, as if in pained response to the sorcery. Fault lines cracked open in the swirling maelstrom, spilling torrents of blood-stained ectoplasm. Marvain swung his nemesis mace into the clustered packs of the demons, obliterating their forms in bars of azure fire. As he smashed the fiend's side, he felt a bruising pressure forming in the recesses of his skull. The gate's contractions continued, increasing in frequency. Something was coming through. Dread Knights at his side, the Grandmaster turned toward the looming threat. Even through the warp energy tearing at his armored suit's latest wars and clawing at his consciousness, he recognized the demon's spore. Angron had returned, who last time they defeated by using a bunch of void warheads. Unbinding. Upon the sundering of a brazen citadel, the Gar beacon, the Red Angel's Gate, visibly mutated its blood-pool surface. Upon the sundering of a brazen citadel and the Gar beacon, the Red Angel's Gate visibly mutated. Its blood-pool surface flickered, the storm clouds above crashing together to release the booming peals of thunder. The red haze of the Crimson Mesa became weaker and less distinct. Demons twitched and snarled, casting their gaze back towards the portal. To most mortals, such changes were little more perceptible than shifting weather fronts or changing winds. To the Grey Knights, however, the effect was profound. It was as if a pressure valve had been released in their psyches. The corona of warp energy that wreathed the gate's crimson mass, visible only to foes with warp gifts, shrunk back. Those signs revealed to the Grandmaster Marvains that the anchors had been lifted. With the task done, the grand ritual required to seal the portal could begin. Infectious Rage! At the base of the Crimson Mesa, the loyalist soldiers defending the rear came under renewed assault. Just as at Fordis, the Demon Primarch's manifestation had bolstered the morale of the Carnate army. Ascara and the Enscrine, having led her pursuing force into fight rallied, flagging traitor guard and fleeing cultists, directing them forward into the hail of defensive fire. Corrupted rhinos sporting the colours of various world-eater warbands rumbled out of the burning ruins of a brazen citadel, driving forward to grind screaming mortals to matted poop beneath their tread. From the collapsing gate far above guttered forth echoes of Angron's rage, embers that settled within the minds of the loyalists and traitors alike, and burst into flaming fury. Disciplined gun lines collapsed as madness swept through the ranks. Wielding bayonets or swinging glass weapons as club, Death Corps soldiers abandoned their positions and threw themselves into cornate hordes, heedless of Colonel Cars's orders. Regimental commissars struggled to restore order amongst the disordered formations. Cars's command squad became surrounded, and the colonel drawing a sabre and cutting down several slavering jackals before he fell to a storm of chain blades. He died still screaming a Krieg prayer of atonement. Pockets of cornate assailants led by blood-splattered world eaters soon broke through fractured lines and began ascending the mesa slopes. At the summit, Space Wolves and Black Templars moved to repel the assault, leaving the Grey Knights to contain the Red Angels' fury. Ooh! Oh my gosh! Flying Cornate Berserker! When are we going to get Cornate Raptors? Especially Emperor's Children Raptors. And see, look, it's a Corn Lord and Juggernaut. Or is it just a generic Corn Dude and Juggernaut, which we don't have currently? Ooh, a Soul Grinder, a big old chainsaw. This Soul Grinder, again, isn't a mod we can buy, but it should be. Oh, and that's a cover art! It's a cover art! Oh! Wait, that's a Razorback, I just realised. I thought that was like a Storm Bolter at first. No, it's a twin-linked Heavy Bolter. I love Razorbacks. And look, is that like from a failed Titan, a failed spaceship in the background? I don't know. Ooh, they changed the font type. Oh, it's the last 2 pages before the Crusade rules. We gotta learn how they beat Angron. Ngron. Oh gosh, I should be careful trying to say that. Angron emerged Crimson Haze. Angron emerged with a Crimson Haze as the Red Angel's Gate, flame licking at the outline of his imposing bulk. Polychromatic wisps of warp energy rose from his skin, and silver forks of lightning laced down the warp storm to illuminate his monstrous form. Thunderous explosions erupted wherever the fulminations struck. Having to pause again. Mute. Sorry, hay fever's really get to me right now. There we go. Immediately, the Demon Primarch's gaze took in the Grey Knights, his monstrous face twisting into a snarl of rage as he caught the stench of sorcery. He could feel the illuminating... Yeah, Kharn hates sorcery, so Angron does too. He could feel the accumulating energy of ritual incarnations reaching their culmination. He could hear the mortals' whispered mutterings laced with weakness and deceit. 8 paladins knelt in place on the southern side of the river, their backs to the battle raging across the slopes. Each was deep in concentration, fighting to utter nightmarish syllables of their grand spell of exorcism. Grey Knight's Terminators stood between the kneeling warriors of reborn Demon Primarch. These battle brothers too had pulled their psychic might, projecting a physical barrier around the kneeling paladins that shimmered gold, turning aside incoming fire from advancing heretics. Already the silver armour was stained with gore, and the ground before them was strewn with the discorporated corpses of fallen demons. Across the Crimson Mesa, loyalist warriors were engaged in combat with teeming masses of heretics and demons, the thudding report of bolters and snarl and whine of chainsaws, the crack of last gunfire. conspired to form a deafening orchestra of death and destruction. With a wordless roar of anger, Angron charged forward, crashing into the Terminators. He lashed out with spine grinder. The snarl-toothed chain axe chewed hungrily through the first warrior's latticed walls and ceramite plate, bisecting him at the waist. The ragged halves of the Grey Knight crashed to the ground, hot blood jetting from the dying warrior's ruined body. A tide of diabolical warriors followed the demon Primarch from the portal, tearing their way through the surface of the gate in every direction. Massed ranks of bloodletters loped forward, profane banners of flensed skin wavering in the searing winds, the brazen war horns howling. Woodcrusher cavalry coursed out to the maelstrom to smash into the Terminators, the rival emboldened mortal traitors assaulting the southern slopes and lending fresh strength and fury to tiring bodies. Oh, can the loyalists win? Of course they can, because otherwise the fifth war of Armageddon can't take place, which is technically just a continuation of the third. Grandmaster Rothwer Morvane's full name, having been engaged in the heavy fighting atop the southern slopes, noted Angron's arrival. Moving to face the Red Angel's advance, he steered his nemesis Dread Knight through a mass of jackal cultists, swinging his mace through their ranks and pitching broken bodies aside. Others fallen and gone followed suit, aiming armed mounted weapons towards a pursuing unit of berserkers. The Dread Knights opened fire, unleashing volleys of absurd annihilation from their heavy incinerators and bathing the oncoming world eaters in torrential gouts of cleansing fire. The flames burned through their ceramite, reducing the assailants to a molten slurry. Wading through the clawing, slashing torrents of cultists, Grandmaster Moran swept his nemesis mace from side to side, sundering mortal forms of each mighty swing. With a gaunt skewered a Thracian Gormonger upon the tip of his nemesis' greatsword, raising the screeching heretic aloft before casting it into a mass of jackals, knocking several from their feet. Brother Thorn turned his Gatling piece silencer up on a charging Bloodcrusher. Searing beams of psychically charged energy slammed into the brass armoured steed and burned through the demonic rider's chest, pitching both onto gore-slick stone. Morvane's continued forward. We've got a bunch of those Bloodcrushers. I love Bloodcrushers. Morvane's continued forward, dividing his attention between taking in the state of a battle and lashing out at foes around him. The paladin still knelt in concentration, even as more demons pushed from the gate. His psychic senses revealed their absolute focus upon contemplating the exorcism, completing the exorcism ritual. They trusted their outmatched battle brothers to shield them from harm for long enough before each of the kneeling paladins floated a shard of Angron's black blade. Fergath. Angron's black blade Fergath. Each arcane focus was wreathed in power, which formed a shimmering energy field between them. Morvans could feel the pull of a rift upon his psyche as the spell reached its crescendo. The storm buff had already begun to retreat, drawn down into the eye of a portal, the gate gutting itself upon its own complete corruption. The shield, conjured by the fifth Brotherhood Terminators, flickered as Angron butchered his way through them. A half a dozen battle brothers now lay dead in the demon Primarch's wake. The Red Angel's onslaught threatened to foil the Grey Knight's plans. All that mattered now was stopping the demonic beast. Disengage. Focus your fire on Angron, Morvane's projected the order by psychic impulse to Gorn and Thorin. The casting must be complete. Angron drove Spide Grinder deep into the skull of another Terminator and wrenched it free, pulling with it a stream of steaming blood and brain matter. He strode past the twitching corpse, and the brutal overhand strike broke the faltering psychic shield, driving the teeth of the power axe deep into a paladin's helm and down into a warrior's body. He bellowed in incandescent fury as adamantium sheathed teeth ground through bone, muscle, and vital organs. A great arc of blood and glass splurted from the dead spaceman's body, sizzling as it splashed across the scorched rock. A single shard of a black blade clattered to the ground. Angwin saw the remaining silvers of black stone flicker and felt the spell weaken. As he strode towards the next of the kneeling knights, a barrage of a surbolt struck his burnished brass plate and bored into his crimson flesh, releasing gouts of acrid smoke and psychoplasmic gore. The demon Primarch snarled in rage, his maleficent glare falling upon a trio of death knights. He broke into a loping run, his iron hooves throwing up red dust as he covered the ground towards the Grey Knights. He crashed into the nearest Dread Knight shoulder first, propelling the warsuit backwards and sending it tumbling across the rocky ground before launching himself high into the air and coming down atop the prone warsuit, ringing Soulgrinder dying again. The Dread Knight convulsed violently as its pilot was bifurcated in an eruption of glaw and splintered metal. Another of the Dread Knights opened fire at point-blank range, engulfing Angwin's body in flame. So this should be a good story. Shouldn't it? Because, you know, all it is now is Grey Knights and World Eaters smacking one another, so everyone's happy. Oh gosh. Another of the Dread Knights opened fire at point-blank range, engulfing Angwin's body in flame. The Demon Primarch roared, charging out to the Inferno, and propelled himself at the towering warsuits, launching a flurry of armor-shattering blows. Most were parried or turned aside where the Nemesis Dread Knights warded armor. Others smashed through the arcane defences and bit into silver plate. One severed a hydraulic line, spilling oily fluid over Dread Knight and Demon Primarch alike. Another bit into the knee joint, shattering servo motors and leaving Thorin limping with a snarl. With a snarl, Angron brought his barbed tail around, knocking the Dread Knight from its feet and stamping down upon the prone warrior's harness. With a cloven, brass-shod hoof, Ceramite splintered and collapsed, bone shattered, blood jetted forth. As Angron raised his weapons to land the killing blow on Thorin's downed Dread Knight, Grandmaster Morphens drew upon his psychic mic and charged forward, Nemesis mace rimmed with a sore fire. He crashed into Angron's flank in a dazzling explosion of force. The Demon Primarch reeled, throwing back his head and letting out a bellow of apoplexy. Morphens drove past Angron's bulk, parrying brutal blow after brutal blow, and positioned himself between the Demon Primarch and his last surviving brothers. He felt a well of hatred bubbling up from the pits of his soul, righteous hatred. Spine Rider's teeth, now clotted with bloody gristle, slammed into his Dread Knight's force field, which flickered and strained as he deflected the blow. Morphanes hit back, swinging his warsuit's fist into the monster's ribs. A satisfying crack rang out as the demonic flesh and armour broke upon the force of the strike. He struck again, driving Angron back towards the portal. The ritual casting had reached its crescendo now. Morphins felt the gate's empiric magnetism tearing at his psyche. Angron too clearly felt its pull. The Demon Primarch's skin began to blister and peel from his body. The burning hatred in his eyes, however, remained undimmed, as the combatants, the Grey Knights, had drawn back to surround the remaining paladins. Around the combatants, the Grey Knights had drawn back to surround the remaining paladins. Demon cultists and World Eaters continued to hurl themselves upon them. Other loyalist forces were interspersed amidst the unfolding fight, unable to make any significant headway against the teeming masses of heretics. Morphine swung his mace. Angron intercepted a blow with a crook of his chain axe and twisted, bending the Demon Knight's arm back and wrenching hard the bellow of exertion. With a screech of shearing metal, the limb came free. Angron struck again. Summoning orifices slammed into the Dread Knight's frame and bit deep. its burning blade driving through the harness into Morvern's breast. He exhaled in pain as Angon wrenched the demon blade, attempting to free it from his innards. Waves of agony coursed through the Grandmaster's body. With a final booming syllable, the paladins completed their ritual. The 8 slivers of a black blade were snatched up by the empiric vacuum of the dwindling rift and drawn into its mouth. Demons screeched as their physical forms are torn apart and cast back into the warp. Loyalist and heretic soldiers battling across the crimson maze of Southern Pole clutched at their skulls, blood streaming from their eyes as the rift tore at their very souls. With Angon's weapon still lodged in his soul Morvain drew upon his last reserve strength. He pressed his dread knight's shoulder into Angon's chest and drove the snarling demons towards a gate's imploding core. Locked in a violent embrace, the two were dragged into the abyss, the last of Morven's lifeblood pouring from his body. Fleeting visions of Armageddon flashed through his mind. Aquila banners raised high, battles yet to be fought, champions risen and heroes slain. As death rushed to meet him, he felt the empiric shockwave of a Red Angel's gate collapse into nothingness behind him. His duty was at an end. Armageddon's suffering would continue. Oh. Oh, there's a corrupted statue from the Gormonger box set and Sanctifiers. Oh. Look at those Grey Knights. More Grey Knights. What's that in the background? Oh, the big old portal, Helldrake and Stormraven. Not Stormraven. No, yeah, it is Stormraven. Oh, and Angron. I thought he was fighting Dread Knights. Lord of Skulls with a background there. Oh, there's a Dread Knight with a mace. The Crusade rules. Crusades rules! It does rule. But yeah. We're not gonna go over Crusade stuff. There's a lot of stuff in here about how to do your Crusade. Armageddon, introduction, campaign phases, the types of missions. The missions in here look kind of fun, to be honest. Where are they? Hellscapes. Warp encounters. Yeah, you got all sorts of warp and stuff can happen. You can get anomalies occurring, which is fun. Here we go. The missions. Temporal raids. Just one of those weird double pages. It is a weird double pages. Hellscapes. Like, it goes, oh, and then it folds in like that. But there we go. Okay, that did not last as long as I expected. Oh, we can see what's coming next week. Yeah, it's cardboard. Oh, but there we go. The Grey Knights. Basically, in the final battles, everyone sacrificed themselves. Ooh, Header Knights of Celeste head into battle with a new General's Handbook. Ooh, Lord of Hysteria. New Spearhead. Oh, which has Fiends in. 2 squads of demons, some Seekers. Oh, what are these guys? Wait, how many Demonettes are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Oh, yeah, there's 20 Demonettes. Some weird demon thing. 2 weird twisty people. Oh, I just needed to wait a week. Yeah, there's Fiends in here. I wanted to get Fiends. I wanted to get Seekers. Oh. Oh, this is just a spearhead. Wait a minute, that's a spearhead. That's an amazing spearhead. And then let's look at this. Then you got the new Battle Force, which has Sigvard in it. More of those guys, more. of them, more of them. It's okay. Oh, this is just the same battle force that's before, except replace one of the characters with Sigvald, and they got rid of 5 of these twin soul people.
Age of Sigmar is the best Warhammer universe.
Nah. So what are these? Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Vicefold Discard. What the heck are they? I wonder if we're going to get these into 40k as well at some point. A new regiment of renowned, I guess. New Slaneshi dice. General's Handbook. Ooh, here we go. We got for Gutter Runners, for Skaven stuff are coming out. Finally. Black Library for False Gods. But oh, that's a metal icon on the cover. Bloom Spike gets. Ooh, exciting stuff. This is exciting for me because I wanted to... This is like the kind... So I've been planning Demon Army. If you've been on the Discord, you'll see it. But, you know, expanding my Slaneshi demons. I still need 20 cultists. I was thinking I'll get the old Spearhead, which has 10 of them in. Basically this, just minus those two, add in a different character. Use that character as a firebrand. I'll show you which character it is specifically. Shard Speak of Slanesh. Yeah, that person will make a very good firebrand. So it's got to get that as the firebrand. And like, if I get 2 of them, that's 2 firebrands. Use a Blibspart's archers as cultists. Just rebase them. I've already got Nemesis Claws, already got Noise Marines. I need to get more Noise Marines. Using the... what they called? The Fiends. So these 3. Because the old Spearhead is basically this. Minus Twin Souls, minus him. Add in that. Use those guys as just Seekers of Slanesh, but again, they need to be rebased. With this, if I get this, I wanted like some Fiends. Actually, I was originally going to have 30 Demonettes and 6 Fiends. But yeah, if I get this, that's the 20 Demonettes I need, that's the 3 Fiends I need, that's half the Seekers I need. Then you got these 3 new guys, which, I mean, I guess I could convert them into GW Plastic Demon Prince. He looks like he's on a 40mm base there. Yeah. That's pretty cool. But all I need is 5 more Seekers. Or if I get the Blissbarb Archer guys. The previous Spearhead. Where's the previous Spearhead? I can show you the previous Spearhead. And I could get the previous Spearhead really cheaply. Oh gosh, that's the wrong button there. That wasn't what I meant to do. There we go, it's this one. Here we go, so 10 Blissbarb Archers, rebase them into cultists. Rebase these guys into Chaos Spawn. Rebase them into just normal Seekers. By rebase, I mean like they're on 28mm bases, but they need to be on 25mm bases to be cultists. These guys on 40mm bases, but they need to be on 50mm to be spawn. And these guys on 75mm oval, but need to be 60mm oval if they want to be Seekers. So, yeah. Then use this as a firebrand, which I think is already on the correct size base, 32mm. Actually, I should check, shouldn't I? Warhammer 40k. Armies of Chaos, Chaos Space Marines. Firebrand, Firebrand, where's a Firebrand? Firebrand, there we go. Yeah, he looks like it's on a 32mm. Maybe that is an absolute giant. Yeah, 32mm. And he's on a slot base of all things. But he doesn't look super Slaneshi. So yeah, ooh. That looks like it'll be good though. I put him onto a 60mm. And actually, that one looks more like my cultist turned into Demon Prince, I guess. I could put all three of these in a 60mm base. Oh, idea! So, there's a cool piece of art. There's a cool model. Chaos. Head Knights of Slanesh. This one. So you got this, a Vengeful Alliance, which is a Herald of Slanesh and a Demon Prince. But what if you put this one on the back of this one? Oh! I'll actually just replace the head of this one and have like this one coiling out the head of that big one. That would be cool. Put it on a 60mm base. Ooh. Could work, could work. Yeah, I think I'd definitely get this Battle Force then. Oh, we're gonna have to like rearrange how I do stuff. Like, forget the other box here. I'd still give me my 3 Fiends I need. But then I'm combining these Seekers, the Bliss Barb Seekers, with these Seekers, which are proper Demonette Seekers. Yeah, definitely don't want to get this. Because I don't have anything I could use as Twin Souls for, except me, you know, maybe Chosen, but I don't want to do that. Because my Slaneshi part of my Night Lords is meant to represent mostly just cultists. I don't want too many Space Marines amongst them. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think on this. That's cool. New boxes. I'm not sure what to think about this Regiment of Renowned. It's literally just 2 models. Well, I say 2 models, 2 boxes. This is just for magic spells we can cast, and this is just 1 unit. The dice look kind of cool. It'd be nice if we could see what the dice look outside of the box. But yeah, Cuptle runners are coming back, which can also be built as... What can they be built as? Night runners! Yeah, Cuptle runners or night runners. The new Death Master named one is getting an individual release now. City of Ash is getting its own individual release without the other models. It's just for terrain and pack. It seems good. Hi, Greg Johnson. It's Age of Sigmar fun on tabletop. A lot of people absolutely adore it. I've been watching a bunch of the battle reports on Warhammer Plus, and what would I say about it? It's okay. That's my thought process on it. It's okay. I think there's a lot of rules in there that I feel like they use Age of Sigmar as a testing ground for a lot of things. They use it as a testing ground for certain like models. Will people like these models? Will they not? Will they like these rules? Will they not? So you see a lot of Age of Sigmar stuff. A lot of things that, you know, come into 40k. It's like, yeah, this is really improving 40k. It started in Age of Sigmar. In fact, like, a lot of people, they complain about the simplification of rules. But Age of Sigmar is where this simplification really came down. In fact, that's why Age of Sigmar was originally released. Back when they first released it, people weren't really involved or caring about Warhammer Fantasy Battle. It had a massive learning curve, and people didn't really like that, or didn't want to get into it. So Age of Sigmar came along as a much more simplified game in the style of 40k. And as it went on, it got more streamlined, more simplified. But they also add all sorts of crazy rules. Not all of these rules work in 40k. For instance, a big rule in Age of Sigmar is twists. You can use twists in 40k, but they very quickly removed them from tournaments and from basically the official companions and so on. And they've not brought twists back for 11th. They kind of done something a bit with the battle formations, a bit experimental there. So, well, again, if you like the twists, one of the things I don't like, but I guess just makes sense, is that they don't have the entire strength versus toughness of Rose to Rune like 40k does. You know, if they're using it like a Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts, I don't know what that means, but I guess so. But so what they do is, where in 40k they've removed weapon skill and instead you just roll to hit. So you hit on a 2+. And that's pretty much it. So you can get your roll modified, but it's not like you compare your weapon skill to your opponent's weapon skill. Like you're both weapon skill 7, you hit on a 4+. If a weapon skill 5 and your weapon skill 7, you hit on a 3+. If a weapon skill 8, you hit on a 5+. You don't have that. It's just, in the same way we don't have that now in Warhammer, they don't have strength versus toughness. Instead, they just roll to wound. I wound on a 4+. And it's just like, I don't care if you're a giant, I don't care if you're infantry, I roll to wound on a 4+. I do think they have like some other keywords and stuff. But it's usually like if they have anti-infantry, it's like anti-infantry rending. So if they fight into infantry, they get extra rending. Or maybe they'll get an extra roll to the wound or something. I'm not a big expert on the rules, as most of it came from watching battle reports, but the battle reports cover multiple editions, and I'm not sure which edition each of these battle reports are from, because the Warhammer website is a mess. Like sometimes it's like, oh, for first video on the thing is 10th edition, for second video, oh, it's 8th edition. They just need to reorganize Warhammer Plus website. It's awful. But yeah, but you're British. I'm British. Just because I'm British doesn't mean I know everything. I mean, I know most things because I'm British, and British people just inherently know most things, but we don't know everything. You know, JoJo. Do you know JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? You know, the reason it's set in Britain is because they're just like, you know, these people are super powerful and knowledgeable. Oh, it's actually hilarious. I had kind of a reason, like, so many of the characters of the first season are powerful. It's just because they're British. Oh, gosh. But yeah, not sure what to think about this battle force. It kind of seems a bit meh. The spearhead looks amazing, though. Love that spearhead. These guys look cool. I'm not a big fan of this model, but I love those two. They're so amazing. I hope they come, because the demons, I hope they come into 40k as well. It'd be cool if they immediately release with new rules. Let's go down. Let's look at these. Date in Japan and Korea, that's all it says. I'm not sure what this general handbook stuff. Hi, Grandmaster, how you doing? The British blood so dominant that Jolene is a 1/8 Joestar, and it doesn't even matter. Yeah, it's true. This is why Dio is so scary as well, because he's British. You think the Pillarmen are, you know, like when you look at the Pillarmen, you're like Joestar, Dio. Dio was kind of, you know, if the Pillarmen came out at the same time as Dio, the Pillarmen would be embarrassed. Oh. I don't know what to think about this dude, though. Oh, it's surprising the Lord of Hysteria's not in here, and he's not in here. Yeah, cool new models. What else do we have to talk about today, though? We don't have much to talk about. A lot of hysteria is staying at home, lol. Yeah, true. I like how a lot of people have decided to shrink his neck. I did get fees recently. I can't build them yet because I'm waiting for my Night Lord parts to come along so I can convert them into Night Lords. When I build these, I'm gonna have to take apart my previous Rubik Marines, like rip the heads off them, so I can put some of the Rubik Marines heads on them. I got plenty of spare heads in here, but I also want to put some Night Lord heads on these guys. Put some Night Lord shoulder pads. The Rubik Marine shoulder pads are not very stylized as I thought they'd be. I was hoping I'd get like a load of super stylized pieces, but when I looked at them, it's like, actually, they're not that stylized. Like the heads are amazing. Let's turn this light on. And that stuff, and you got the warp flame pistols. You got the little icons, which are okay, I guess. But where's the shoulder pads? Yeah, if you look at the shoulder pads, they kind of look a bit boring. So I was hoping they'll be like have more sentient symbols and stuff on, so I could put them into other models to make them look more sentient. But no, if they kind of do, they've got like these little beetle marks on them, but that's more of a Thousand Suns motif rather than sentient motif. So, the reason I want to use the heads though is because the heads, if you look at it, it gives them a lot of extra height on the models. And as also, I want to put them on by Rubik Marines that were made with what's the word? Disintegrators, and give them some of these heads so that, you know, they're more in line with how the Rubik Marines are in terms of height and model size, and they're more obviously meant to be Rubik Marines. I'm not a big fan of doing that simply because what would be the word for it? Because it makes them feel a bit less Night Lordy. For two types of British people, for British and for British. And I'm both. Stop. Ramu bodies Vampire Dio. No. Okay, Wham bodies Vampire Dio. But I'm pretty sure AC/DC and that useless guy, Cars. Yeah, I'm pretty sure both of them get bodied by Dio, or at least Dio puts up a surprisingly good fight against them. Wham, though, yeah, he bodies most of JoJo that we've seen so far. I'm pretty sure Wham could body, like, the entire of Part 3 JoJo gang, at least where I am up to Part 3 at the moment. They just fought Cars. Do you know they fought Cars in Part 2, they fought Cars again in Part 3? As usual, people forgetting Santana. Cars would be proud. Yeah, Santana is useless. Santana would get bodied by Jonathan. Like, Jonathan could beat Santana with a little finger. Dio's Knights. The zombie Knights Dio made could beat Santana. Oh, I'm pretty sure if the two Knights together could probably put up a decent fight versus Cars as well. The body pretty much all of the vampires that they made. I also got some Plague Marines. Again, I can't build these ones until they come along. But these guys are so much cooler for spare bits. If you're wondering why I've got these boxes, I bought them from the second-hand store. For like really cheap, less than half price. But for second-hand stuff, they only sell Warhammer that's fully sealed, so... Although technically this wasn't actually sealed, but, you know, it was unbuilt, so it's fine. Yeah, we got a cool knife. But yeah, these guys have got loads of spare bits, like, you got the cool plague knives and plague weapons and stuff. And you got these cool plague backpacks that you can just, like, gift to other models. But where's the shoulder pads? Yeah, we got these cool shoulder pads. They're not like Death Guard specific. They're just plaguey shoulder pads. They're Nurgle specific. So when giving them to Nurgle cultists and stuff, well, not Nurgle cultists, but Nurgle Space Marines, it's fine. It works. pets. You don't have to give them to Plague Marines. And you can like put some of these heads on like other corrupted Space Marines, and it works. But for Thousand Suns, they don't really have that many spare Cinchian parts. I was saying that Ram stands a chance against Strength. Imagine if a boat just crashing into his house, Ram stays in during the day. He's currently at the Wheel of Fortune episode. Yeah, I just finished the Wheel of Fortune episode. So yeah, I don't have a favourite stand from each part. All I know about stands is the Wordo and apparently Purple Hermit. Yeah, but Ram would be fine if a boat crashed into his house. Because Ram can dodge the sun. We saw Ram dodge the sun. He's amazing. He'll just dodge the sun until he can be inside the boat. And then he'll just tear the monkey to pieces. And the monkey wouldn't stand a chance. And I think he'll just do that to most of his stand users. He'll just tear them to pieces. The only ones I think that could stand a chance is people like Jotaro, Silver Chariot. I don't think Abdul's heat would be enough to stop Wham from beating him. Because we've seen how damaged Wham can get before he has to give up. Jotaro could probably keep Ram just at distance for a little bit. But as soon as Ram like starts doing any sort of clever tactics. So far, I don't think he could beat Ram. Joseph in part 3 also probably couldn't beat Wham at this point. Saulerdo. Favourite stand so far? I've not actually seen for Wordo, so I can't really say that. But I've heard it said, and that makes it my favourite one. Abdul's stand was pretty fun. The fire one. I'm not a big fan of Silver Chariot at all. Partly because he kind of was cool when he was first shown. And then he's not done anything basically since. Hermit Green, or whatever, not Hermit Green, Hierophant Green is pretty cool. I think Jotaro's stand at the moment is the best. Oh, but I do like Holly and Joseph's stand, where it's Silver Fawns. You don't like Silver Chariot, he God's a little clown. Thunder is yellow because she likes steel. No. Are you reading or watching? I'm watching the anime. When I'm eating my food, I watch the anime. So yeah, it's been pretty good so far. I think I like the flower themed ones the best, probably. Jotaro's the only one I don't like. It's just too strong. I mean, at the moment, it's not really being shown to be too strong or too weak. Because it's, I don't know, like half of the episodes, he doesn't even really use it. Or if he does use it, it's kind of just bits of it. And I feel like it's less that Jotaro's stand is too strong sometimes, in fact Jotaro himself is too strong. Like, he just takes these massive attacks, like, he gets carved up, shot to pieces, and he's just like, nah, I'm fine. And for the next episode, he's healed up fully. Although that's true for all of them. It's like, they take some seriously grievous injuries in one episode, and for the next episode, they're just fine, they're healed up. It's literally a day later, sometimes it's the same day, and they're just fine. Which is hilarious. I love Polnareff. His reasons are really compelling. I'm not a big fan of Polnareff at the moment. Jotaro is a protagonist. What do you expect? You just saw him imitate Drug Trio. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's just silly JoJo nonsense, that episode. Now, I'm not a big fan of Polynarth. He got Abdul killed. Abdul. Oh no! If that's a spoiler, Abdul. No. He was. Abdul's the best. And. Oh, no. And he never even learned his lesson. He just immediately went to next episode talking up some girl, you know, that stopped him getting vengeance a little bit. And, you know, being arrogant as soon as, like, this car came along. He's like, you know, Abdul died by his arrogance. And he just decided, you know what? I'm just going to be more arrogant. Going to be more of a jerk. Like, oh. Yeah, it's, It's a bit like that. Yeah, he's probably my least favourite of the main JoJo Gan cast at the moment. Oh, so he looks like Dio, and Dio was a goof. Dio was an absolute goof. At least Dio hurt Dio. For Rose. Oh. Abdul. He was too powerful. He was too good for the world. So they had to get rid of him. Because if they kept him around, it would just be easy mode. That's why I think they got rid of Abdul. It made it too easy mode. They had to make sure Abdul just wasn't around for the bad guys. Like that car wouldn't stand a chance. It's a relatively nice motivation, but he kind of loses that motivation after the two right-handed dude is gone. Now he has to avenge Abdul. By punching himself in the face. Oh, gosh. Jump to present. Where am I? There we go. Oh. But I've got nothing else to do. I need to have some stuff. Give me a moment. I'll be back. I managed to find some good deals on eBay. I got a Death Killer War Trike. We'll probably build this next week. Try seeing if we convert it somehow. And I got some Beast Snaggers as well. I'm thinking we'll build them next week. We'll have a bit of an archy week this week. It has a big base, does that dude. I kind of like some of the dumber JoJo characters too. I feel like they kind of overcome more to win, except Joseph, all his fights rule. I kind of like... Yeah, Joseph's had great fights. It was nice to see that he's still capable of fighting against the Empress thing. It would still be nice to like see him do more, I guess. I've got like a bunch of bits I need to move out over here. But what else is there? I guess it does feel a bit like how Jotaro, sorry, it's got that Space Marine plot armor going on. Do you know named Space Marine? Dude, what? I thought it would take me longer to read the book. My dyslexia didn't hamper me as much as I expected. I even took a lot of time, you know, to do other stuff. We could build something. We could build something. Oh, we could yap. What do we want to yap about other than JoJo? Because I'm not sure everyone knows JoJo. And those who might not know might not want spoilers. JoJo is trying all hard to be cool and mysterious, but instead he kind of looks autistic. He is autistic. We're all autistic. We're just on different parts of the spectrum. Different types of autism. Joseph is still the best, though. There we go. Fall over. Don't fall over. Don't fall. Stand, Mr. Kriegsman. Stand. What would a Kriegsman stand be? This is my Kriegsman, and this is his stand. Technically, everyone ever is autistic since there's a spectrum. True. True. Well, they're all kind of crazy and autistic, to be honest. They are all social. They're all very, you know, have social issues. Like, you can't tell me that Joseph is a normal person. That's not how a normal person behaves. Look at my Kriegsman's been getting jacked. His head never skips arm day. The henchest Kriegsman. Never skip arm day. Oh, wait, it can be his other arm as well. Oh, yeah, hench. Oh, he can be like the car guy. Super hench arms, the rest of him's tiny. But his arms are jacked. Big E stand would be so powerful, it would have a 0 meter range. Big E is his own stand. Icon is my favourite guy because he's just really casual about unaliving others. True. There we go. We can give him a little low that says 6 on it. But, oh gosh. What else do we have? What else do I have to do? So next week, I've not made my schedule today yet. I'm going to do it after the stream. But we'll probably play more Rogue Trader. I'll try to play more Mechanicus too. I don't have anything going on this week. Oh, I do have something fun. So yesterday, I found out my friend has a proper 3D print, like a really big one. Like one of these massive bamboo lab ones. So I was like, yeah, do you want me to 3D print anything? I'm like, yes. I'm gonna get him to 3D print. The Subjugator Titan. The Subjugator Titan. It doesn't exist in 40k at the moment. It used to exist. But it's the Slaneshi Titan. It's incredible. I want one. I just got a 3D print a gun. It's so no. I've already got a knife. Why do I need a gun? It's like, do you know in an anime when someone pulls out a gun, and the other person just pulls out a tiny knife, you know the person with a tiny knife is absolutely about to dominate. Like, the tinier the person's weapon is, the more deadly they become. Oh, never mind, she's too busy being a Warhammer nerd. You think you're safe? I told you, I'm 3D printing a Titan. I don't mean a Warhammer model, I mean a Titan. Like, they're 300 meters tall. Working weaponry. I'm gonna walk into Washington. 1-to-1 scale. No. 2-to-1 scale. No, wait, no. 1-to-2 scale. As in, one of my Titans is equal to the size of 2 actual Titans put together. Oh gosh, that would be so silly though. Oh gosh. What else can we do? What else? Plunger and a Titan v some guy equipped with an acetone bottle. Don't worry. I'm gonna coat it in. Oh, what kind of coat it in? You know, I'm just gonna coat it in a matte varnish, and then paint it with I'll just put a bunch of metal plating all over and stuff, you know. I need to make a proper engine and, you know, plasma reactor and stuff, so don't think about it too hard. Paint it, you say, okay, we're safe again. No, I'm gonna get like a big old airbrush. You know, for you know, painting cars. It's fine, don't worry about it. And by me, I mean I'll get someone else to do it. Because I'm a big old jerk like that. Do 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 do. Badu, badu, badu do 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 do. Hello, Dr. Smilex. By the way, Dr. Smilex. Demons. Demons! Demon engines! We also equipped the guy with one of those lottery card scratchers. Oh, yeah! I love those things. I'm joking, we don't. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yesterday, I met someone who is the biggest gacha person I've ever met. Like, they play Uma Musume and Star Rail and all sorts of stuff. And her partner played, you know, Call of Duty. And when she found out this loot boxes, she started opening like loads of loot boxes. Just like, I'll get you something good. I'll get you something good. I was like, oh no. The gacha is she's literally just into gambling with just anything that is just technically not gambling. Control met for I did meet the target audience. The median gamer. Oh gosh, my tummy still hurts though. Yeah, this, after looking at Demon Prince models yesterday, suddenly these things. I think I already knew about these things and I'd completely forgotten about them because it's Age of Sigmar. I don't have room in my brain for Age of Sigmar, but look how cool this is. How many models is it? 28? 31? 31 models! Yeah. So there's a leader demonette, there's a leader demonette, there's a musician demonette, there's a musician demonette. Wait, they just took... Wait, literally. That's not the leader demonette then. They took 10 demonettes that were made, and rather than get a second squad of 10 to put alongside them, they just took the same models and just photoshopped them into the same image. They just duplicate. Like, these are literally just duplicate models. It's not even like they, because there's multiple, you get lots of head options for demonettes. You get lots of arm options. You can swap around what pieces go where. So there's many ways to build them. There's even 2 banner options. They literally just took, and you can see, even if you look at the bases are identical. They just took 10 of the demonettes they had made. They probably have at least 20 or 30 demonettes made up and painted. Yet they didn't even bother. They just took 10 of the same. That's bad. Like, if we go over here, Age of Sigmar, Chaos, not House Missile, Header Knights, the demonettes, and we know that they have more painted up. Well, I say we know. Maybe they don't have more painted up. No, see if they do. Here we go. Here's a different banner that they could have used. Because there's 2 banner options. We could have used this one as well for the second banner. And do we have that demonette where it's just got a hand to her ears? No, we don't. It's not here. This one. Oh yeah, they didn't have they have a second squad painted up, but they didn't bother putting them in this image. What the heck? Maybe it got damaged. Yeah, this is a spearhead, by this isn't a battle force. This is a spearhead. It's amazing. 3 fiends and a bunch of these are online only models. They're online only. They're online only. So it's really good. Because if you look here, online only means it's very hard to get a deal elsewhere. Blitzbarb Seekers are also online only. And what else is there? Contorted Epitome is online only. So is that thing. Seekers online only. Yeah, so for Regiment of Renown, it's honestly more disappointing. It's literally just this thing for endless spells. Plus the Contorted Epitome. The Contorted Epitome is an amazing model though. Like, look at this. I was looking at it a lot yesterday because it was, you know, Demon Prince conversions. Look at this. I like the modern take on the Demonettes that they've been doing. Like you can see it in these models. For newer models, like the Infernal Raptures is also a lot newer than the other Demonettes. It's like these are the old Demonettes. These were like some of the first plastic demons, I believe. And the Seekers are the same age. And I think the Fiends aren't much younger. Mask is a newer model. But yeah, and they're continuing with these new ones to go for the same idea on the Slaaneshi demons. You know, giving them a bit more clothes, but also using that clothes to give them more dynamism. Like the flowing fabric is really cool, giving it all the Slaaneshi symbols on them. And to be honest, I just love these types of sleeves. And for masks and stuff. It feels like they've really found a stride for how they want Slaaneshi demons to look now. And you can see it in the same with the Felgor over here. Whereas I feel like back when they were made for Demonettes. Hi SBC, how you doing? Did you see your test scheme? I did see your test scheme. It looked cool. But yeah, if you look at the old Demonettes, it feels like they were... I mean, this is like for ancient models now. You can see, you know, with the... static's not quite the correct word, but there's an awkwardness to the models that belies their age. And yeah. But you can also see that they're struggling to find what they want to do. It's like some indecisiveness of what they want to do for Demonettes. They wanted to move away from what they were back when they were metal and a lot more naked, but they're not sure how they want to work. So they're going for more direct, the screaming, kind of terrifying look. But for newer models, they have this more alluring, like, sinister smiles going on. Now, the sculpting techniques are much better now. And like what they can do with better technology. But if you look at these ones, you can see it's like they got a lot more flexibility to them. If I look like this guy's bent back, this one's all up. And they're using the fabrics and the clothing instead to... Oh, what would the word be? Help enhance the figure of the model itself. Try creating this more alluring aesthetic to them. While still trying to keep it demonic and terrifying. I like that. And these guys definitely... this one does look a bit awkward, if I'm honest, with its posing. This one definitely has... you know, for more greed and gluttony style going on. So, they're cool. I think I'm going to try converting these 3 into a Demon Prince. I did already get something. I just came high about to do minis and morons. I saw I pat cat and I gotta go, bye bye, good luck with your streamy thing. Hope it goes well. Yeah. Oh, and thank you for popping in. Oh, yeah, because I did get, where is it? Where's the model I was looking at before? Because I decided to order it, and it might use it as a demon prince, but I'm back to normal. Hi. Where is the model I found? That's me, sorry. Yeah, this thing is the one I found online that I think is pretty cool. For like my cultist terms demon prince. But I think these three will be very good because you can see this is a similar sort of like aesthetic going on. Do you know snake with a staff? Although I like how it's 2 legs. Each leg is becoming a snake. That's kind of cool. I feel like I can do something here with it. Just give them a 60mm base. So far, my idea is use this as the body, maybe cut whatever's on the back here off, and then have the legs growing out of his back, like the snake legs here. Alternatively, remove the head and have like the snake body growing from inside here. Also, I'm thinking, take this arm, put it on one of these arms instead, so it's holding the staff. Keep that head on this one. Maybe keep that shoulder pad. Oh no. Oh no, I like the idea that this one has 4 arms, and I want to give the 4 arms to this one. So once we got the models, I guess I definitely get this spearhead, because I need 20 demons anyway. I need the 3 fiends anyway. We can do something. And a spearhead is what? How expensive are spearheads now? For £91, aren't they? So that instantly is 54 plus the fiends is 38. So that's 92 already, just right there. Assuming it is the same price as all the other spearheads, which is 91. So it's immediately just going to be cheaper to get these things. And it's going to be significantly cheaper because I'll be able to get the spearhead for like 70 something quid. But I can't really get the fiends on a very good offer. I've looked around heavily to try and find them on a good offer, and for most I can find is 5% off. I can find these guys for like 20% off. Actually, let's look. How expensive are them? Wayland. No, Wayland games. There we go. Spearhead. 72. Yeah, I can find the spearhead for 72. For most, I'll be able to find these are for about, that's like £21 something. No, £41 something to get them. And it's like £36 something to get them. So it's immediately just going to be much cheaper to buy this new spearhead than it would be to get them separately. So that's just going to give me 5 seekers to work with. These guys turn into a demon prince. The old spearhead is basically this with just another character instead of Sigvald and without the twin souls. So yeah, the battalion is a bit more disappointing. It's still got to be relatively decent savings, just. Also, because it's got a named character in it, that doesn't help. So yeah. Very cool. Also, dice, new Slaneshi dice. They don't look as good as the Cinchian dice. The Cinchian dice look so much cooler. I want to eat the Cinchian dice. That's the issue with me. Like, have you seen the Cinchian dice? They look like blooming bubblegum. They look like bubblegum. It can't just be me. Like, look at this. I want to eat them. These are some of the best dice that Warhammer have made so far. Like, there's literally no better dice than these. Maybe if they went like all in on making the Lord of Change dice, because if anyone likes dice in 40k, it's Siege. Okay, Siege, guide me. What do the dice say? Okay. We got a bunch of Siegean symbols, which means 6. The dice are guiding me. Wait, I like how like everything landed kind of, you know, in order. So there's a lot of rolling of averages. Oh my gosh, it was a rolling off. This is like such a good roll. 4 1s, 4 6s, 4 3s, and 4 4s. You know, I think it seems just definitely telling me something, but I don't know what it's telling me. Oh my goodness. I think it's telling me to like the stream. I think that's what Saint says. Yeah, this is a good roll because, you know, of the opposite side of a 3, it's a 4. Of the opposite side of a 6, it's a 1. And it's like, that was a good one. Yeah. It's like, so the average on a dice roll is 3.5. Making 3 and 4 the ones you're most likely to roll. And why 7 is the most likely roll on a dice. But if we do this, 7 on 2 dice, 7 is the most likely roll on a dice. On 16 dice, the most likely result, if you add it all together, is 14, 28, 56. And what did we get here? 56. We rolled 56 exactly. It's amazing. You know, I told you, Cinchian dice were literally just for Beth. Unfortunately, we are now not getting a 50-minute break on how to use these dice as a random faction or something. No. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about that happening. Do 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 do. If we turn them upside down, we're gonna get a big old frown, and we can put them away every day and sing a song all day long. Okay, we go Duke, Duke, Duke. There we go, but she wanted to. She wanted to. I mean, I don't know how you'd use these dice, you know, outside of just rolling from as normal dice. If we were to why I turned them upside down for that, it's just so that all of the Saint symbols and the number 6s were, you know, on this side. Where the window is. Oh. Yeah, these Saint dice are amazing. Like, compare them to the other dice we've got. Right, we got the Gaskell dice. We got the Yavik dice. We got the Aldari dice, which are transparent. The Black Templar dice, which are okay. The Aston Charm dice are kind of cool. I really do like that design. And then The photon dice, again, look like something I want to eat. I'm back from helping get little sister with a Lego set. Oh, nice! I hope she enjoys her Lego. I just realised some of them have the Warhammer logo on the side and these things on the side. But this one, these ones don't. It's on the bottom. Oh. Oh. Interesting. What about you? Look at on the side. Oh. Also, the design of the Cincian ones is also a bit more unique from the others. Oh, he's got Yavik. It was a flower. Oh, is it that 3 flower sets you can get? But I'm going to give you all a big love heart now. Thanks for popping in. If you've not liked the stream already, please give it a like because, you know, Cinch told you to. And also, you know, have a good rest of your day. Remember to work hard but play harder. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to others and vice versa. Eat good food. Yeah. Sleep well. Dream of cupcakes, but don't eat the cupcakes if there's up food. And I'll get a schedule up later tonight. And hopefully, you know, the stream scheduled as well. So bye-bye. Goodbye, everyone. Love you all. Wait, how do I leave again? I forgot. This one. Smash. Yeah.